Mayor Owens,
Here.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Here.
Councilperson Baker,
Here.
Councilperson Lucido,
Here.
Councilperson Curley.
Here.
Next item is the first hearing of the public. Does anyone have anything to say regarding anything concerning any of these properties? Maybe it's a neighbor that's next door to it or adjacent to it? No? Okay. Seeing none, the hearing of the public is closed. The first property we are going to look at is 16554. Before we go into talking about it, for Robert Lynch and Lakeisha Lynch. Anybody out there about this property? Seeing none, let's go to Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Richard Albright, appearing on behalf of the City of Eastpointe. This is a date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 16554 Collinson. Before we go further, I'd like to have several exhibits entered into the record. The first is a memorandum prepared by City Administration. It is dated February 24th, 2020, with a recommendation of Mary Van Haren. The other exhibits include the notices of this evening's proceedings, along with the notices related to the underlying dangerous building hearings, and also the transcript from the hearing and the report and order of the hearing officer. Ms. Van Haren is president of the council chambers to answer any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Van Haren, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on October 17, 2017. A show cause hearing was held on September 4th, 2018, and another on February 5th, 2019. An inspection was conducted under an administrative search warrant on 12/6 of 2018. At the show cause hearing held on February 5th, 2019, council tabled the matter for 60 days so we could notify the owner and have our attorney check on divorce papers. Since then, Mr. Lynch notified us by telephone on April 22nd, 2019, that he will be obtaining a permit for the interior renovations. He contacted us again on February 10th, 2020, to advise that he has completed the new roof, parentheses, although the roof permit was canceled, and he's working on the inside and will have it done by the end of the month. He will attend the show cause hearing to explain the status to City Council. There's been very little water use since January of 2017. Mr. Lynch has not registered this as a vacant structure and has not had an inspection under this vacant structure program. We recommend City Council give Mr. Lynch a final chance to register this property as a vacant structure, have the required inspections, and correct any outstanding violations within 60 days or schedule for demolition.
Council?
Well, Mayor Owens and I had the opportunity to drive by this home today, and it does have a new roof on it, and it actually looks pretty decent, and I would hate to put it up for demolition, but in my opinion, I feel like he's not moving on it, and we need to kind of force him to move, because, I mean, he's doing the work, so why not just start going through the process of getting it done as a vacant structure?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to provide some background since we were last before the City Council. There has been some discrepancies as to who exactly owns this property. Our office ordered an owner and encumbrance report back on January 13th of this year, and the owner is still registering as Lakeisha Lynch. She's owned the property since a warranty deed was recorded back on March 22nd of 2016. I know that Mr. Lynch has appeared before this body on previous occasions, and it indicated that he had received the property via a divorce action. I did do some checking on that. We did review the Macomb County records, and it appears as if the divorce action that was filed was ultimately dismissed, and it doesn't appear as if a judgment of divorce was actually entered. I attempted to reach out to Mr. Lynch's attorney, and our office placed calls with the attorney's office, and we also sent him emails. All of those went unanswered. So as it stands right now, Ms. Lynch is the listed owner of the property. The 2017 taxes in the amount of $2,855.60, those are due. There are also 2018 taxes due in the amount of $6,503.58. For the 2019 taxes, Winter taxes in the amount of $1,387.71 are due, and that includes an $82.36 for delinquent water, and also $1,202.21 for abatement. And summer taxes in the amount of $5,306.51. Those are due, and that includes a bill for $198.74 for delinquent water, and also an invoice for $588.40 for debris removal, and $1,655.51 for abatement.
Wow, it sounds like we will be owning this house in a minute.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a question I was going to ask later today, but might be a good one for now. If we are going to, well, so yeah, a house in good condition, none of us ever want to demo. And also, if we're going to own it, it'd be more worth our while to not demo it. Is there anything we can do to move along this vacant registration almost ourselves then, especially, or like when would it be in foreclosure? I guess either of those questions. Is this the gentleman maybe?
Are you Mr. Lynch? Yes. How you doing, sir? We're talking about your property right now. If you want to come up to the podium. Not this, that's the podium right there. Yes, sir. Just state your name and your residency, whether you live in Eastpointe or not.
My name is Robert Lynch. I live in Grosse Pointe Shores.
Okay, so we're talking about your property, if it's yours or your ex-wife's, I'm not sure. 16554 Collinson. Can you
Yes.
tell us about that?
I've been working on that for about 2 years. The only thing not done right now is the garage, the door on the garage. But the house has a brand new roof. I did a lot of work inside. The only thing that's not finished inside is the bathroom. It's been painted and everything.
Yeah, we drove past it and it looks nice, but you owe a lot of money that in a minute is gonna be owed to us. You're gonna be fixing up a house that you're gonna be giving to us.
What
So your taxes are over 10 grand.
I took the property out of foreclosure. I paid up 17.
You paid up 2017 taxes?
Yeah.
Probably gotta get it updated, maybe.
As of January 13th, 2020, when Sherco Title ran a check on this property, the 2017 taxes for the amount of $2,855.60 were still showing as due.
Well, if you check it now, it's been paid.
Oh, you want to say something, Ms. Lucido?
Mr. Lynch, do you think that you could get this home registered as a vacant structure in 60 days?
Yeah, because somebody's supposed to be coming out Thursday to finish the work.
But so I have a question. If what we just discussed, Mr. Lynch, before you were here, if he's not legally the owner, can he even do this process?
I'm the legal owner.
Not
Not according to what we have.
not
no.
according to the records we just read.
Well, they haven't really sent the documents from Macomb County because I went in, after the divorce, I went in and changed it over to my name.
Can you show us proof
I can show you.
by the end of this month, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Or the end of next week? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I can show you
this
proof.
probably has been coming to us for a while now. We've been back and forth, so.
I wonder why they didn't send it over. Because
I don't know why you didn't
I've
send it
done
over
that,
either.
that's been done almost 4 or 5 months ago.
What's the date on your document, Mr. Albright?
This is just a printout of the divorce action involving Mr. Lynch. And according to this, and this was filed in the Macomb County Circuit Court back in 2015, and the action was actually dismissed without any judgment of divorce entered back on October 27th of 2015. So that's those are the public records that show that. I don't know if Mr. Lynch, perhaps he and his wife were divorced in another county, or.
Yeah,
they
we,
worked out
in
some other
Wayne
way.
County. Wayne County.
Was that after 2015, sir?
I can't hear you.
Was that after 2015?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if you have the documents to show that you own this house and you can have it up to date, you said give them 60 days?
Well, I wanted to see it certified as a vacant structure within 60 days.
Can you do that, sir?
Yeah, I can do that.
Now, whether you do it or not and how the taxes are, you can fix up that house as much as you want. It's gonna be Eastpointe residents. So, I mean, I need you to update with the taxes and things like that. I would hate for you to put all this money into it, do all this work, just for us to be the owners of that house, and you trying to fight to get it back. Because we don't want your house, we want you to keep your home. But if you owe taxes on it, there's nothing we can do when it goes to the county.
Well, I went and took care of that.
Okay, well, we have documents that show you haven't. So if you don't have those documents, I would, go ahead.
Mr. Lynch, did you or your attorney have a quitclaim deed drafted after the divorce action showing where your wife or ex-wife deeded her interest in this property to you? Or either that, or have a certified copy of the divorce judgment recorded with the Register of Deeds? Because as of right now, your ex-wife is still showing as the sole owner of the property.
Yeah. That was all selling the divorce decree. It was, the property was supposed to have been turned over to me. And then I took the copy of the divorce to Macomb County and had it registered.
When did you do that, sir? Because it's not showing in the chain of title yet, or at least as of January 13th of this year.
It's been almost a year that I had that done.
Did you get the document that you recorded with the Register of Deeds, did you get that back with a library and page number and showing that it had been recorded on the top?
Yes.
Okay, if you could provide a copy of that to either our office or city administration, so we have that, and you may want to check with the Register of Deeds, because as it stands right now, that document is not showing in the chain of title for this property. It's still showing your...
I'll do both.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman?
I'll make a motion. Madam Mayor, I motion to give the owner of 16554 Collinson 60 days to get the home registered as a vacant structure.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir, do you have all our lawyers' information so you can, and Ms. Van Heren's information?
Yeah, I have it all at the house.
Okay, we just don't have your information, so if you can give us your information as far as contacting them with all that information about you and your wife and who is the sole owner, we would appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, you're all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Next property is 21755 Nevada, Jerry Dale, Macomb County Treasurer and occupants. Anyone in the audience out there for this property? Mr. Albright?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Richard Albright, appearing on behalf of the City of Eastpointe. This is a date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 21755 Nevada. Before beginning further, I'd like to have several exhibits entered into the record, the first being a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren dated January 24, 2020, with a recommendation of demolition of the garage within 30 days. I'd also like to enter into the record notice of this evening's proceedings, along with the prior notices of the prior hearings, along with the transcript of the dangerous building hearing and the report and order of the hearing officer. Ms. Van Haren is present in the council chambers to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. Initially, the city started a dangerous building case on this property in October of 2016. We scheduled a hearing for February 17th of 2017, but canceled it when the owner came forward and assured us that they would get all the repairs done within 30 days and paint it in the spring. This is talking about the garage. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on 1/11 of 2018, and no one appeared at the hearing. The hearing officer ordered the garage repaired within 120 days or scheduled for demolition. The show cause hearing was held on September 4th, 2018, and the City Council allowed 60 days to make repairs to the structure. The owner has not made repairs, has never contacted the building department regarding the structural integrity, and has not painted the structure. We recommend demolition of the garage within 30 days.
Council?
Can I make a motion?
Yes, please.
Madam Mayor, I motion that all repairs be made to the garage at 21755 to bring it up to code within 30 days or recommend demolition.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Owens,
Yes,
or I'm sorry, Mayor Owens,
that's fine. I know you meant.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
and Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Next, item on the agenda is property 23115 Piper, Teresa Stuck, and occupants. Mr. Albright?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Richard Albright, appearing on behalf of the city of Eastpointe. This is the date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 23115 Piper. I'd like to have entered into the record several exhibits, the first being a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren, dated February 24, 2020, with a recommendation of city administration. Also, notice of this evening's proceedings prepared by the city attorney's office, dated February 20, 2020, along with the prior notices of the prior hearings, the hearing transcript from the dangerous building hearing, and also the report and order of the hearing officer. Ms. Van Haren is present in the court, or in the chambers, to answer any questions.
Ms. Van Haren?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. The property owner has failed to certify this rental property. We started pursuing this as a rental in August of 2018 and have had conflicting information regarding the occupancy. Initially, the owner advised that she resides in the home, but the records of the city show her address is in St. Clair Shores, which is actually her grandmother's house. She had a notice in the newspaper to rent this house, but said she was residing in the home and seeking a roommate. The following month, we received a phone call from the tenant at this home, and he had concerns with the condition. He eventually left and another tenant occupied the property, still without any inspections or registration. Eventually, in September of 2019, Ms. Stuck registered the property and had an inspection conducted. The application declares that Ms. Stuck resides at 23100 Piper, but our records show that that is another property she owns and is an unlicensed rental property with an occupant by the name of Sheila Moore. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on August 19, 2019. The tenant appeared at the hearing, but not the owner. On December 16, 2019, Teresa Stuck contacted me about an invoice for the dangerous building process, and she indicated she had no knowledge of the entire process. I provided her with documents on the entire file, but also advised her that since our records for her address are incorrect, she won't be properly notified of the hearings. The hearing officer recommended the violations from the rental inspection are corrected and the property certified within 45 days. This has not been accomplished. The outstanding violations from an inspection on 12/17/19 are, and I don't know if you want me to read them all, there's, probably 20 or more violations that are in your memo that we have not been back to reinspect. We recommend requiring compliance of a rental certification within 45 days, or the city should take action to have the property vacated.
Thank you. Counsel?
Madam Mayor, I would move that the property at 23115 Piper bring into compliance of rental certification within 45 days, or the city will take action to have the property vacated. Support.
Thank you. Before we go on that, Mr. Albright, you had something to say real quick?
Oh, I did. Madam Mayor, I just wanted to add into the record that Teresa Stuck did sign for the notice prepared by our office, and that was signed for, it was served on her via certified mail. She signed for it on February 24, 2020. And notice of this evening's proceedings was also posted at the property. So she did take receipt of the notice of tonight's proceedings at 23115 Piper.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We got a motion? Yes,
Sorry.
yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure there's no one here for this property.
That's what I was gonna.
Yeah, anybody here for this property? For, what's this, we at 23115 Piper? For Teresa Stuck? No? Okay. Yes, sir.
Point of clarification, so the motion is 45 days to correct the violations or vacate?
That's correct. 45 days of the city will take action to have the property vacated.
Okay, and if the occupants do not vacate the property, is there some additional action, or does the city council want to bring it back before the city council?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Gurley. You had something to say?
Yes, as in bring it back to?
Yeah, yes, of what the city attorney recommended. To bring it back to the council, right, Rich?
Back before city council for further proceedings,
Yeah.
unless there's part of that motion includes demolition of the structures. Or if the council would just rather have it brought back before council.
I would rather just bring it back.
Well, are we, I guess, we're vacating though and then bringing it back? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the 45, they're supposed to vacate within 45 days.
Right, I'm saying, well, because I think, are you asking because we've had properties where people weren't vacated and we needed to, move on that? I guess I don't know legally how that works.
In those cases, if the council is leaning towards demolition and the occupants are failing to vacate, in the past, the city council has instructed the city attorney's office to file a nuisance abatement action in the Macomb County Circuit Court and obtain a court order requiring any occupants to vacate and then proceed with demolition.
So I think he's asking if you'd like to do that or just bring it back to council. I guess it's either of those options.
I still like, bring it back to council. See where we're at. We might have, yeah.
This is already
I don't know who seconded it.
how many times?
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Baker, yeah.
Okay, so, this is only the first time for us.
I do have one more quick question too for Mr. Albright. You said that she signed, what address did she sign for it at?
The green card just indicates Teresa Stuck, 23115 Piper, Eastpointe, Michigan, 48021. And it was delivered to her at that address, it appears, based on the green card on February 24th of 2020.
It's her signature?
But she's just a tenant. That's not the owner of the house. So we need to try to contact the owner,
Teresa
correct?
Stuck
No.
is the owner.
She's the owner, okay, because it says
Yeah.
on here.
I think,
And the taxes
Well,
are
Miss-
caught up except for 2019. The summer taxes for 2019 are due in the amount of $2,056.12. That includes $187.47 for delinquent water. And the winter taxes are due in the amount of $252.39, and that includes a water bill for $91.12. But it appears as if the 2018 and 2017 taxes have been paid. It appears as if Ms. Stuck acquired this property according to a deed which was recorded back on May 18th of 2017.
well, I was wondering, was Miss Lucido, were you asking because it could have just been the tenant that signed the card, even though?
No, I was asking because there seems to be some confusion on whether or not she is the occupant or if it's a rental. So, because if she's the occupant, then she doesn't need to get it certified as a rental. So that's where that's why I was asking, because if she signed it at the property,
Looking at the signature, you have no idea who signed this.
well, the address is on,
Could be.
Well,
but because the motion is to bring it back to us, I'm fine with just moving ahead with the motion right now. We're not demoing the house for sure, so.
yeah. All right.
Any other questions, concerns, council? Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Next item is the property at 21788 Roche, Vernon versus Voigt and Nancy C. Voigt and occupants. Any of those people in the audience today? Seeing none, Mr. Albright?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Richard Albright, appearing on behalf of the city of Eastpointe. Before proceeding further, I'd like to have entered into the record a memorandum of Mary Van Haren. That document is dated February 24th, 2020, with a recommendation of city administration. In addition, the notice of this evening's proceedings prepared by the city attorney's office and the prior notices of the, for the hearings, and also the report and order of the hearing officer and the transcript from the hearing. Ms. Van Haren is present in the council chambers to answer any questions.
Ms. Van Haren? please.
Thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. Code enforcement has not been successful in enforcing property maintenance issues on this property, including blight in the rear yard and the condition of the garage. Rental inspectors have been unsuccessful in their attempts to get this property registered as a rental property. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on August 19th, 2019. The owner failed to appear at the hearing. We received a phone call from the occupant, Kathleen Kaza, and explained the process regarding the hearings. The property owner, V. Voigt, is deceased. We discussed with his daughter, Brenda Rutkowski, who resides in Royal Oak, about the process. The hearing officer ordered an inspection within 30 days. In addition, the property shall be brought into compliance with the city's vacant property or rental housing code within 90 days. No action has been taken to resolve the matter, and the house remains occupied as shown by water usage. So we recommend that we enforce the hearing officer's recommendation.
Counsel?
Is there anyone here for this property?
No, I already asked.
So is the legal owner still Mr. V. Voigt then?
The owner-
Even though I know he's deceased, as we said, but.
The owners are listed as Vernon V. Voigt and Nancy C. Voigt, his wife. That's according to owner and encumbrance report prepared on January 13th, 2020. So the city has been informed that Mr. Voigt is deceased. It's unclear if Nancy Voigt is currently alive.
Did daughter Brenda Rutkowski, what was that discussion, Ms. Van Haren?
So I don't know. I didn't ask her about about Nancy Voigt. I just made notes that she told me that V. Voigt, her father, is deceased. I don't know beyond that. I didn't ask, and I had no notes.
How'd we even talk to her? Like, how does she even, because it said, well, it says you received a phone call from Kathleen Kaza, who's occupying, but then said discussed it with Brenda Rutkowski?
That's
How
right.
does this all-
So Brenda Rutkowski called in response to Kathleen Kaza contacting us about the hearings and her concerns with the condition of the property.
And so is Kathleen Kaza a friend of the, like, are they supposed to be living there if we actually had if it was actually a rental property? Like,
I'm
who is
not-
Kathleen Kaza?
The tenant. She just said she was the occupant of the property.
Okay.
She had been getting notices about the hearing, because we do attach them to the door, and she called regarding that, just to ask questions about what was going on.
But like, so Brenda Rutkowski's, what did she say about someone living there? So I'm just wondering how this person is.
So I don't know. I didn't write down any specific notes about why the person was living there. I don't know.
I guess I don't understand your question.
It sounds to me
Well-
like she's a tenant, like she's
Yeah.
renting it, and so there's a paycheck, she's paying rent every month. That's what I would imagine. That she was renting that home, and it's just never been filed as a rental property.
Well, I'm asking because the owner's deceased, though, and we talked to the daughter. Who knows if she has any ownership in it? There's another person that owns it, and then someone's living there. Who has any idea if she legally could even be there? I guess that's why I'm asking.
Right.
Who knows if someone's allowing her to even be there? We can't even answer that question, I guess.
Ask the lawyer.
If Vernon is in fact deceased and Nancy is still alive, Nancy Voigt would be the owner of record for this property. If both Vernon and Nancy Voigt are deceased, then an estate would need to be opened by the family members or a creditor, and a personal representative would have to be appointed to either sell the property or lawfully collect the rents for this property. According to the owner encumbrance report, it appears as if the 2018 taxes, summer taxes rather, are due in the amount of $1,577.15. And both summer and winter taxes for 2019 are both due. The summer taxes due are $1,449.33. The winter taxes are $46.07. It doesn't appear as if there are any mortgages on this property, And it appears as if Mr. and Mrs. Voigt have owned the property since 1973.
So if we were to schedule an inspection within 30 days as suggested by the hearing officer, how would we go about that?
An inspection could be scheduled, notice sent to the occupant, who in this case appears to be the same person who signed for the notice of tonight's proceedings. What the city could also do, if deemed necessary, is a city could apply to the Macomb County Probate Court as a creditor and ask that an estate be opened. The court would grant that request and appoint a public administrator who would then take care of, or at least be charged with maintaining the property and ultimately selling the property. That's a process that would take, or could take, anywhere from 6 months upwards to 12 months.
Why wouldn't you give the notice to the daughter? Why would you give it to the occupant? That's the person who needs to do the fixtures, right?
Well, the notices were posted at the property itself and also sent to the property owners of record. So they were sent, the notices were posted and sent to the property owners. Our office did not have an address for any other interested parties in this case, just the owners, and we go off of the owner encumbrance report.
Sounds like the only person responding is Miss Brenda.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, why, and that's the daughter, right, of the owners, so.
And we don't have any evidence that Nancy, I haven't seen a death certificate showing that Vernon Voigt is in fact deceased, and I haven't seen a death certificate indicating that Nancy Voigt is in fact deceased. So if an estate was going to be, a petition for probate was going to be filed in the Macomb County Probate Court, we would need to get a death certificate for the last person to pass away between the husband and wife, and then an estate would be opened in that person's name. So if in fact Nancy passed away after Vernon, then we would petition the Macomb County Probate Court as a creditor to have a public administrator appointed for Nancy's estate.
So I guess I just asked this because I don't want to go through the rental inspection if neither of these people even own the property. We shouldn't be doing a rental inspection for a tenant that shouldn't even be there, or there's nobody we're even talking to that actually owns the property. Should be a vacant structure. Well, we don't even have any contact with the owners. I guess we should have had contact with the owners before we even brought this to us. I don't know how we even make a motion that makes any sense.
I know sometimes when you deal with rental properties, if it's a legit case, the occupant will, if they get a notice like that at the property, will reach out to the person that they're paying rent to. So if you get a notice saying that action is being taken where you're residing, it's like, wait a minute, hey, what's going on? So if it's a legit rental agreement, that'll be like the first course of action that the occupant or the tenant will take to try to make sure everything goes smooth, because they want to keep their residency at the rental dwelling.
Right, I get that. If it's the opposite side, though, could just have someone
Yeah.
living there
Well-
and just lives there until they get kicked out, and they
And-
really shouldn't even be living.
Yeah, the attempt is always made at the, I mean, if you have an address registered for a property owner or a landlord, then all communications would go back and forth with that landlord. If there is no contact made, they will leave information at the property, because they make every attempt to reach that person through, either property or an address that they have on file.
We don't know who the owner is.
Yeah. I have a suggestion. If in fact both of the owners are deceased and a third party, whether it's a daughter, a son, another family member, is collecting rent on this property, that would be unlawful. Okay? They would not be authorized to do that. Even if they had a valid power of attorney, powers of attorney are only valid while a person is alive. So if in fact both owners are deceased, then an estate needs to be opened for whoever was the last known alive between the married couple. So what our office can do is we can do a search of the death records and find out if in fact Nancy, or if in fact Vernon predeceased Nancy. We will obtain a death certificate for Nancy, and we will petition the Macomb Probate Court. It's something that we've done on many occasions in the past, and ask that a public administrator, and a public administrator is someone who is appointed by the state of Michigan to step in when a family member or someone named in a will either fails or refuses or otherwise doesn't want to be involved in opening up an estate and being named as personal representative. A public administrator will do so. And so we can do that. So if the council wanted to just essentially table this matter for a period of several months, we can get started on that process and then just report back to council.
I have one question. If both of the owners are deceased, like they might be, shouldn't we do a nuisance abatement to start the process of having the tenant removed?
We could do a nuisance abatement action as well, but even if that was done, and we can still keep this matter open, and our office can pursue a nuisance abatement action, but we still need to open up an estate.
Yeah.
So we would, the procedure that would follow, we would file the complaint in the Macomb County Circuit Court to abate the nuisance. We would name whoever, we would essentially name both of the owners on the owner encumbrance report. And then once we located the death certificates, we would then file a petition with the Macomb County Probate Court and ask that a public administrator be appointed. Once that person was appointed, we could serve them with a copy of the complaint, and then they can take steps to secure the property. If there is an occupant in there, they would take control of receiving any rents, because technically, if there's somebody there, that person has to make those rent payments to the public administrator.
Well, I'd motion we do all that essentially. I'd motion we first try contacting the owners. Well, we assume one's deceased. We don't know about the other. Try contacting Nancy Voigt, and then if we don't get in contact with them, then start the process Mr. Albright just laid out with what do you call the process? Just a probate, going through probate.
A nuisance abatement and seeking the appointment of a public administrator in the Macomb County Probate Court.
Okay, both of those.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Next property on the agenda is 22789 Roxana, Mary Paul, Macomb County Treasurer, and occupants. Anybody in the audience for this property? Seeing none, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Richard Albright appearing on behalf of the City of Eastpointe. This is a date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 22789 Roxana. I'd like to have entered into the record several exhibits, the first of which is a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren, dated February 24th, 2020, with a recommendation of city administration. Also, notice of this evening's proceedings prepared by the city attorney's office, along with the prior notices of the prior hearings, the report and order of the hearing officer, and also the transcript from the dangerous building hearing. Before Ms. Van Haren begins her presentation, I would like to just add that this is another case where the property owner is deceased. Our office did file a petition on behalf of the city to have a public administrator appointed. As it turned out, the daughter of the deceased filed a probate estate as well, and that estate was opened on May 3rd, 2019. That person was appointed as the personal representative. Her name is Kathleen Paul, and the estate was administratively closed on November 19th, 2019, and it doesn't appear as if the property, while the estate was open, was ever sold or otherwise transferred to a third party while the estate was opened. It appears as if the estate was closed because the personal representative did not file an inventory. When that took place, what the probate court does is they will schedule a conference with the interested parties. That conference was scheduled to take place on October 29th of 2019 at 1:30. It indicates under the Register of Actions that the personal representative failed to appear, and therefore the estate was administratively closed on November 19th of 2019. So unless Ms. Paul is in the council chambers, it would appear appropriate as if the city then petitioned to have the estate reopened and a public administrator appointed as opposed to Ms. Paul, because it appears as if she previously failed to adhere to her responsibilities and duties as the personal representative, and therefore the case, or the probate estate was administratively closed. So that being said, I turn it over to Ms. Van Haren to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on April 18th, 2019, and August 19th, 2019. At the first hearing, Kathy Paul appeared, and she indicated she's a sister of the deceased owner. Rich Albright indicated that if they did not file probate, he would ask for a public administrator to be appointed, as he was just talking about. At the second hearing, no one appeared, and it was recommended the property owner recommended the property is certified as a vacant structure within 60 days or seek an administrative search warrant to determine the condition. In an email between the city and Mr. Albright in October, he advised that he will attempt to contact the personal representatives and request an inspection. As you can see from the photos attached, the house has siding falling off and the garage door is damaged and cannot close. It appears that the house has been vacant since February of 2018. I recommend we obtain an administrative search warrant to inspect the interior and report to council our findings.
Yes, sir. Ms. Albright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd also like to just add for the record that back on October 30th of last year, I'd asked my assistant to get in touch with the personal representative. My assistant spoke with the personal representative, Kathleen Paul, on October 31st and asked her to schedule an inspection. Ms. Paul agreed to call Ms. Van Haren, and my office provided Ms. Paul with Ms. Van Haren's telephone number. On October 31st, later that day, Ms. Paul called back to tell my assistant that she is scheduling the inspection and plans to sell the house as is for her siblings who live there. That was the last contact that we had with Ms.
And
Paul.
what was the date on that?
That was back on October 31st of 2019.
So you recommend Mr. Albright to reopen it? Like
Yes,
the last one did.
for the council to give our office an opportunity to file a petition with the Macomb County Probate Court to reopen the estate so that a public administrator can be appointed. The public administrator then can properly administer the estate and either sell the property to a third party or transfer the property to the interested or heirs in this case.
Okay.
So, did they schedule an inspection, or
They did not.
they called your office and said they did, but they did not?
They said they were going to.
I thought you said in the follow-up just now. You said they called back later that day and she said she did schedule. I thought that's what you just said.
She called back to tell my assistant she is scheduling inspection and plans to sell the house as is.
I must have heard like did. Okay.
Yeah, we initially, earlier that day, asked her to schedule the inspection. She agreed to call Mary, and so then she called back and then called back to tell my assistant she is scheduling the inspection.
Okay.
You know what else is interesting about that, if I might, is that Mr. Albright just indicated that when he talked to her in October of 2019, she said that her siblings were living there, and yet our records show that the house appears to have been vacated since February of 2018 because there's been no water usage. So I don't know, maybe they've been living there without water. It's hard to know, and people do that.
Just,
Yes,
Madam
sir.
Mayor. Mr. Albright, if they said that they intend to sell it as is, I guess my question, that doesn't get them off the hook, does it? I mean, if you take a look at these pictures, and I sure wouldn't want to live next to it, particularly for the last 2 years. So how do we keep track of this if she sells it to some as is and the person keeps it as is?
Whenever our office starts a dangerous building hearing, we record with the Register of Deeds a notice that this hearing has begun and is pending at City Hall. Now, I suppose that somebody could just sign over a deed to somebody, and that person would just take that deed without first checking to find out if in fact that person is the owner who's giving them a deed. But if someone did check the register of deeds, just check the chain of title, they would see that the city has recorded a notice. So that puts the public on notice that there's a problem with the property. So yes, somebody could sell, they could do a deed, but because the estate has been closed, no one has any legal authority right now to sell that property and sign their name to any type of conveyance document. That can happen, I mean, it could happen, but it would be fraud.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to move ahead with Mr. Albright's recommendation.
Support.
Moved and supported. Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Next property on the agenda is 17145 Stricker. Tracy Likely, Trek Investments LLC, and occupants. Anybody in the audience for this property? You, ma'am, please. Hi, yes, please state your name and residency, please.
Tracy Likely, my address is 17368 Stricker.
What was that again?
17368 Stricker.
Okay, so this is the second piece of your property. Okay, I remember seeing you. Please tell us about this property, ma'am.
It's vacant right now. It needs work done, but it takes time. So I do have a monthly note on the house, so I'm paying that and my mortgage, so the renovations will start, you know, when I am able financially.
I have a question for you. Has this, were you renting this home before?
No, I bought it.
It's
No.
always been
It's
vacant?
always been vacant, yes. I just bought it and gutted it because it was,
And you've
bad
owned the home since 2013? Mm-hmm. And you've never had it registered as a vacant structure?
I've had it registered, yes. It's been registered.
Ms. Van Haren,
Yes.
tell us something about this property that we're reading about.
So this property has been in the dangerous building process since August of 2017. There's been one dangerous building hearing held in October of 2017, and this is the fourth show cause hearing on this property. The violation is that the property has been vacant since about July of 2013 and not registered as a vacant structure. At the last show cause hearing held in February of 2019, City Council ordered the owner to certify the vacant structure within 60 days. An administrative search warrant was obtained and the property was inspected on December 5th, 2018. And the owner so it was registered as a vacant structure and had an inspection on March 11th, 2019 with a list of violations cited. And then we haven't been back to re-inspect to verify that those violations are corrected, and so we haven't certified the property as a vacant structure. I misspoke when I said it hadn't been registered. Indeed, it was registered, and we did our inspection under that registration. It's just the violations that aren't corrected.
All she needs to do is do the violation, complete the violations, correct?
I'm
For the
sorry.
home, on the home, the violations, it's already registered and everything.
That's right, and there's some work that was done without permits that were required for the water distribution, and we had requested that they obtain a permit for that, and that hadn't been done. Some exterior property maintenance issues. I don't know really how to recommend we proceed because the house is in pretty nice condition, and if we repair these items on the list, it can be certified and sit vacant for as long as she'd like it to.
Mr. Albright?
It's got a-
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Richard Albright, appearing on behalf of the city of Eastpointe. Madam Mayor, I'd like to have several exhibits entered into the record. The first is a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren dated February 24, 2020, along with notice of this evening's proceedings. That notice was served on Tracy Likely at the subject address, along with Trek Investments LLC at an address in Sterling Heights, Trek Investments LLC at the subject property, and also the occupants. I'd like to also add into the record the prior notices of the prior hearings, along with the report and order of the hearing officer, and also the transcript from the hearing. And finally, an owner and encumbrance report, which was prepared by Churco Title Agency dated January 13th, 2020. It is showing that the taxes for the prior years have been paid except for 2019. It does show that the summer taxes for 2019 in the amount of $4,455.60, those are due. And that includes a bill for $198.74 for delinquent water, and also $1,275.54 for abatement. The 2019 winter taxes are due in the amount of $1,504.43, and that includes a delinquent water bill in the amount of $82.36. With regard to the chain of title in this case, it appears as if Miss Likely did acquire an interest in the property according to a land contract which was recorded on August 1st, 2013. The grantor of record is listed as Manna Development Corporation to Tracy Likely. The owner of record, however, states that it is Trek Investments LLC, a Michigan limited liability company. It appears as if Trek Investments LLC acquired ownership to the property back in 2014, and they obtained a quitclaim deed from an entity known as Superior Capital Funding LLC. And so that is why the notice of this evening's proceedings was also served on Trek Investments LLC, because they are technically listed as the owner of the property. So perhaps Ms. Likely can provide some insight on who or what Trek Investments is. If she knows.
Trek Investments is who I pay my monthly note to. And the young man was here with me, I think, the last visit. Tim McKay, he was here with me on the last visit
I think I remember
of
that.
Trek Investments.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question. Do you think that you could get these repairs done in 120 days?
Yes, I
So
just.
you can get it registered as a vacant structure?
Certified.
Certified, yes, certified as a vacant structure.
Yes.
Now, is that enough time? We put a number out there, but what was your number?
Well,
you
until
think?
until I say, I guess, a list of what the actual violations are,
Okay.
you know, and then I can get someone to, but the registered is not a problem. But once I
You
get a
can-
list
there-
of.
We have a list.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you can meet with Ms. Van Haren, and she'll give you a copy of the list.
okay.
So I'll motion to give the owner of 17145 Stricker 120 days to get it registered or certified as a vacant structure.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
I just want to say one more thing. I do appreciate, the outside of the home looks nice, so I do appreciate you maintaining that.
But one notice I want to make, I guess when I get letters, if my letters or any information can be forwarded to where I live, because I had to have the mailbox removed from that house, and I've told all mail, do not deliver anything to that house, because someone was using my address, having stolen merchandise and all of that delivered. So if all notices could be sent to me at 17145.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give that information to Ms.
Okay.
Van Haren, and she'll also forward it to the city attorney.
Okay, thank you.
You can do that and also have the post office do that as well. Have your mail forwarded?
Yes, I did tell them. Yes, so
Okay.
nothing goes there.
And
But
make
I
sure-
noticed the notices that you guys send me, if I'm going down there checking on the house and I see them stuck to the door, sometime the wind have blown them away. If it could just get mailed to my house.
And if you need a list of these things, you can come in the morning and get a list. Like Ms. Van Haren will be here
Okay.
in the morning, so you can get everything done appropriately.
Okay, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. God bless. Next item on the agenda is property 24892 Tuscany. Tammy L. Cunningham, Macomb County Treasurer, the Huntington National Bank and Main Street Acquisition Corporation. Is anybody in the audience for this property? Seeing none, Mr. Albright?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. This is a date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 24892 Tuscany. I'd like to have entered into the record several documents, the first of which is a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren dated February 24th, 2020. Also, notice of this evening's proceedings prepared by the City Attorney's Office, the prior notices of the prior hearings, the report and order of the hearing officer, and also the transcript from the dangerous building hearing. Ms. Van Haren is present in the council chambers to answer any questions.
Please, we're in a meeting. Can you please, if you need to talk, can you please step out? Ms. Van Haren?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. A dangerous building hearing was held on this property on 7/13/2017, and again on January 11th, 2018. A show cause hearing was held on July 24th, 2018, and on December 4th, 2018. An inspection was conducted of the interior on October 2nd, 2018. An inspection was scheduled for December 15th, 2019, but the owner did not answer the door. The house, when inspected in October of 2018, was in terrible condition. Mr. Albright has started circuit court action for nuisance abatement. I'll rely on our city attorney to discuss the manner in which we should proceed.
Mr. Albright?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our office has filed a nuisance abatement action regarding this property. Ms. Cunningham has failed to appear in the action. There is a mortgage interest on the property. I have been in contact with the attorney for the mortgage company. The mortgage is current, and it appears, as according to the owner encumbrance report, that the summer and winter taxes, or at least the summer taxes in the amount of $3,358.75, those have been paid. With regard to the nuisance abatement action, at this point, our office could proceed with entry of a default judgment and seek an order of demolition. That may get the bank involved to foreclose on the mortgage in light of the code violations. If that's something that city administration believes is appropriate, we can certainly go in that direction. We did file a motion to inspect the property in the fall of 2019, and I did obtain a court order. And I believe when Mary went out to try to execute on the order, she was not allowed access to the property. So that was as recently as the fall of 2019. So if the city council ordered demolition of the property without putting any type of time frame on there, I can work out the circuit court action with the bank's attorney to see how they want to proceed. If the bank realizes that the city is moving in the direction of demolition, that may motivate them to take action on the mortgage. So that's where essentially we're at right now. But unfortunately, Ms. Cunningham has not appeared in the action, and she hasn't done anything further, and she was not able to allow the inspection back in the fall of last year.
You said the taxes and the water bill was all updated, correct?
Yes.
And you was not able to do an interior inspection?
That's correct. I actually filed a motion to inspect the property. The case is pending in front of Judge Kathy Viviano right now, and we did file a motion. Ms. Cunningham did not appear. The judge granted my motion. We then sent a copy of the order allowing the inspection to the property owner. Also provided notice of when that inspection was going to take place, so someone would be present at the house. I believe, Mary, when you went there, were cars in the driveway, and you thought there was somebody inside the house, they
Yeah.
just weren't coming to the door.
Yeah, that's right. I heard people inside the house and knocked really hard several times.
But would that be enough to want to say, let's demolish a house that is updated in taxes and water, and you haven't even seen the inside of the house yet? Is that enough?
Based on the information we do have, based on a prior inspection report, I believe that would be enough, but does the city necessarily want to go in that direction, though?
Right.
So what I could do is I could file a motion for order to show cause regarding the inspection order that wasn't followed from last fall. I think probably the more prudent way to handle it, though, is to file another motion to inspect the property, see if Ms. Cunningham shows at that hearing. I don't know if she would or not, but at least we would get an order and then go back to the property and try one last attempt to try to inspect the property, so we have a current list of violations. If that's the direction council wants to go, that's something that I can get filed within the week.
Madam Mayor, it looks to me as if this was inspected in 2018, the interior, and there's some pictures in here if you want to look at them. I think I would rather move ahead with demolition and see if the bank will motivate them to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the one who did the inspection back then, the initial one, and found it in such terrible condition. And, yeah, so it's been a while since that inspection was done, but it was in pretty horrible condition.
You want a more updated one from the one that you had, that's understandable. Motion is on the floor, do I get support?
Yeah, I'll motion to move ahead with demolition.
Anybody support it?
Any time frame or just as Mr. Albright said?
Just as Mr. Albright recommended.
Okay, I'll support that.
Motion is supported, please call the roll, thank you.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Next property on the agenda is 21789 Wilmot, AFO Global Enterprises, Lima One Capital, Wilmington Savings Fund Society, FSB, and occupants. Anybody in the audience for this property? Yes, please step up to the podium. Please state your name and residency, ma'am.
Alante Loper, Detroit, Michigan. Oh, you want the address?
Yes, that would be okay.
Oh,
please.
my
If you don't
address
mind.
is 11390 Plainview in Detroit.
Please tell us, is this your property, ma'am?
No, representing the owner.
Okay. Mr. Albright, did you want to speak or let her speak first?
Yes, if I could just begin, Madam Mayor, thank you, members of council, Richard Albright appearing on behalf of the city of Eastpointe. This is a date and time set for a show cause hearing regarding the property located at 21789 Wilmot. I'd like to have entered into the record several exhibits, the first of which is a memorandum prepared by Mary Van Haren. That document is dated February 24th of this year with a recommendation. Also notice of this evening's proceedings prepared by the city attorney's office. The prior notices for the prior hearings, also the report and order of the hearing officer, and the transcript from the dangerous building hearing. Ms. Van Haren is present in the council chambers to answer any questions.
Ms. Van Haren?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Owens and City Council. A dangerous building hearing was first held on this property on April 18th, 2019, for failure to certify the rental property. The rental certificate expired on September 13th of 2018 and has not been certified since, although it has been occupied throughout this time. The last couple of years, delinquent water charges have been applied to taxes, and they currently owe $547.26 in taxes. The last inspection conducted was on September 9th, 2019, with a very long list of violations that I detailed in the memo. I will indicate also that our records show that the home was vacated in December of 2019 and then reoccupied by a new tenant in February of 2020.
Thank you, Ms. Van Haren. Council?
So you're here on behalf of the owner?
Yes,
AFO Global Enterprises?
correct.
What was your name again? Sorry, I think I missed it earlier.
Alante,
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything to say on this property?
that is ready to be,
Representing
yeah, I'm just representing, but it is ready to be inspected, so.
So,
Madam Mayor, I'll motion to give the property owner 30 days to finalize the rental certificate or vacate premises until it is certified.
Support.
moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you leave your information with our attorney and also Ms. Van Haren, please?
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Can I get a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Please give us 10 minutes to go into our regular meeting. Thank you.
10 minutes, make sure you're back at 15.
Thank you for being patient with us. I call to order the Eastpointe City Council regular meeting Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020, at 7:14 p.m. We will be having the invocation done by Mayor Pro Tem Sarah Lucido, and then we will go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody, please stand.
Dear God, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many abundant blessings. I pray that you guide us as we go through our agenda to help us make the best decision for all of our residents. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Lucido. Please call the roll.
Mayor Owens,
Here.
Councilperson Baker,
Here.
Councilperson Curley,
Here.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Here.
Councilperson Lucido.
Here.
Yes, can I get approval of the agenda, please?
Sure. Madam Mayor, I'll motion to approve the agenda, but remove unfinished business Part B and table it until, I guess, whenever Love Life Family Christian Center would like to put it back on the agenda.
Support.
Move and support it. Please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
We will go into our first hearing of the public. Everyone has 3 minutes. Come up to the podium, state your name and residency. We ask everyone to be respectful while we're doing our meeting. If you have to talk on the phone, please step out. Please put your phones on vibrate. Thank you very much. Hearing of the public is open. Anybody would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Please come up.
My name is Suzanne Pixley, and I'm taking the opposite role of Mr. Curley. I'm here to talk about the Gratiot Cruise. This will be our 22nd year. You have all the information provided with the application is in your packet. This is going to be an exciting time. We've diminished the number of days from 6 down to 3. So the first day will be at First State Bank, the other 2 at the high school parking lot. It's going to be exciting. We're also going to focus this year on Chevrolet pickups. You may not know it, but the Chevrolet pickup is now 100 years old. So we're going to have a special place, and we've got a lot of people that are already interested. So there's not much more to say. You have all the information. You may question the insurance. I know that Randy will. It expires on May 31st, and that's because we cannot get additional insurance until the month before. So if you have any questions, I'm here in the audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If anyone didn't know who that was our mayor, who I took seat of. So that was Mayor Pixley. She was the mayor for 12 years. So obviously, she's still involved in the city. So thank you so much for still putting, your time into the city. Thank you. Yes, next, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jeannie, and I'm here on behalf of Mary Hall Rayford. She said she's out sick. First, she said, I'd like to thank Council members Lucido and Baker for responding to my email and would hope that in the future, all council members would respond to residents in some manner. Please remember a lack of response to residents or ignoring what they want could jeopardize future political hopes. We will remember who paid attention to us, all of us, and we will act accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your response. Yes, ma'am.
Christine Timmon, 22021 Donald Avenue. Well, I'm responding to something that a gentleman said last week, or last meeting, that you shouldn't do partisan politics. That's the worst thing that you should do. Everybody who's running for District 9, I don't care who they is, what party they is, need to tell all the cities what I'm going to do, because what they do in D.C. determine what can be done here. So I thought that was kind of not really very smart to say you shouldn't want to hear what somebody going to do to you when they get to D.C. And I think he meant on the Republican Democrat, but it's more to it than that. For instance, the Democrats are not who they were when I was in the party. It's a whole different new world out there. You've heard me say it before. They're at the point now where they're declassifying Christianity. All these things are going on. So they need to come before you and tell you what they're going to do, because when they come before you, they think they're coming before the people. The people need to know more about what's going to happen. We're being disinherited every day. That's been happening now about 55 years. The money that they give to people who are not supposed to do it. But you don't know that, because they can just waltz on off to Congress, don't know who they is. Who is, I don't know. Well, why are they doing such and such? I don't know. So I think it's technically they got a word for it. It's called functional illiterate. They started that in the 70s. Oh, look, just Google it. Google functional illiterate. You know what it means? It means they were going to bring the intelligence quotient of everyone down to elementary school and less, and operate you by computers, and you think you know everything and don't even know what an elementary school students did in my day. When you left elementary school in my day, you can come out there and build a nuclear power plant like I did do. The equation at that, and I don't know anything about it. It's just that they taught us to be smart, and we were smart enough to ask questions. So yeah, I think it should be mandatory that if you're going, 30 seconds, it should be mandatory that you go into Congress, you need to tell everybody in your district what you all about. And most of them really don't have a platform, not about anything. I'm the only one that's got a platform that can save everything for all of our people. I'm the only one that actually know that.
Thank you, Ms. Timmons. Please don't clap. It causes disruption. You can clap outside outside the building if you want, or outside. Yes, ma'am. How are you today?
Honorable Mayor, to
Sorry
all the
about
city
that.
council members, I came here on the first Tuesday in February to talk about how I'm being abused and assaulted in my house by my next door neighbor. I have called the police literally about 12 times, and I've been labeled a mental health call. I needed to go to the hospital, and when MedStar arrived, the officers talked to the attendants. I never said anything to the attendants. And when I got in the ambulance, I was not offered any medical monitoring for 19 miles to Henry Ford, Maine. They told me that their blood pressure machine was broken. They told me the manual one was broken. I'm being literally burned to death in my home every day. And the man that's doing it next door is getting away with it. He even sits in his car in the driveway doing this electronic harassment on me, trying to run me out of my house. I'm going to die at 25253 Brittany Avenue if someone doesn't do anything about it. I have been trying to reach the chief, who is my last step in the city. I talked to the deputy chief of police. I've been made a mockery of, smirked at. I was given solar blankets that you give to prisoners, but no one is investigating what is being done to me in my home. I called the detective bureau. I asked for an investigator. I want someone to come in my home discreetly and see what this man is doing to me in my home. My white blood cell count is half. My kidneys have been damaged. I broke 2 toes trying to get away from whatever he was doing to me in my house. I need someone to help me. This man is killing me right in my home. And I'm appealing to this council, I'm appealing to the chief of police and the community in Eastpointe to give me some assistance. I was told to give my information to a gentleman over there. I never heard from him. I called the Macomb County prosecutor. I have not heard back from him. I need help, and I'm not mentally ill. I'm a college graduate. And what this has done for me is activated me again. I will be getting involved in Eastpointe politics. I will be getting involved. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Aretha Smiley. I've called the police at least 12 times.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you give your information again to the director, please?
Which one is that?
One in the middle, Director Rohit. Thank you. He'll respond back to you accordingly. Anyone else would like to speak? Yes, sir, please come to the podium. State your name and residency. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, fellow city council members.
How you doing?
My name is Robert Hagan. I'm a 30-year resident of Eastpointe. Grew up in this town. Grew up with Mr. Curley, who used to be our mayor way back when. I come here today as I'm taking a few steps in this process. Myself and about a dozen other individuals were cited by the building department for various code violations. Mine was for some wood logs that were left behind by DTE when they were cutting for the power lines to get cleared out. Back a few years back, I was cited for the same violation because it wasn't 8 inches above the ground. Okay, fine, got it fixed. The individual that I spoke with said I was good to go. Fast forward to a few years later, to current and present time, I get a letter in the mail saying the same thing. I have wood logs behind my garage. That's it. No safety problem, not a rodent problem. Instead, I get a misdemeanor ticket. Misdemeanor. 93 days in jail max. $500 fine max. Ticket. Me and 15 other people or so all showed up to court last Thursday for misdemeanor crimes. I didn't take life or liberty from anybody. I have wood in my backyard because the building department in this building is issuing misdemeanor criminal offense tickets to people. Now, I don't know who the prosecutor was that was supposed to be there or not be there, but we got, all 15 of us, got a public defender to come in, and we all got to sign this piece of documentation saying that we are all pleading not guilty. We had a public defender, no judge, no prosecutor, no building department. Instead, we get, oh, you got to come back in a couple of weeks. We'll get you taken care of then. A misdemeanor, 93 days in jail for wood, debris. People had warrants out for their arrest. They got pulled over in Grosse Pointe. Eastpointe said, we don't want them. Now, this is according to the individual that had properties. A lot of these things, like we just had to, some of us saw beforehand about rental properties. Misdemeanors, I can't keep saying it enough. This is not a crime to have a code violation.
30 seconds, sir.
For revenue in the city of Eastpointe. You get us already on the water. You don't need to cite us for a criminal offense. And yes, unless this is dropped, I will be going to trial for wood behind my garage. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Can you leave your did you email your information to whom? The building department?
My mom used to work for the building department, so I know a few people in there, but I have not emailed anybody, no, Madam Mayor.
Can you please do that in all of council as well, including the city manager, and we will definitely get back with you.
Appreciate you, thank you.
And thank you for your service. I see you're a veteran. Thank you. Yes, sir. Anyone else would like to speak? Yes, sir. Come on up.
Madam Mayor and Council, Harvey Creech, resident of Eastpointe. You know, I had a few things to talk about, but that gentleman right there, he brought up some of the best that I've ever seen. Drive through this city with all those cars we have in the back. I understand it takes a long time to get things done. But we own some of these properties. I'm embarrassed. I am embarrassed to sometimes tell people I live in Eastpointe because we don't do any better job, but yet we have people that get in those cars in the same difference, give him a misdemeanor. Maybe I don't know what it looks like or how it's straightened up to a certain point, but I think we could do maybe a little bit better job by maybe someone going and talking to this person or presenting himself into a different format than doing what we do now. Because a lot of times I come here quite a bit. Matter of fact, I've even said sometimes, why don't I take up residency here? But I see the cars in the parking lot, they haven't gone anywhere. So is it to the term that they've got so much behind them or so much in front of them that they have to go ahead and take on some of the people? Like they said, this gentleman has 15 people to go along with him. I'm not involved, but I'll go along with him because I'll take them in other places that the city owns and show them the same thing. We haven't got them cleaned up yet. So, when you start pulling acts of valor, maybe, you clean up your own backyard before you clean up somebody else's. And everybody up there knows what I'm talking about. And I mean, as I said before, too, there's other things that I do want to talk about. And as I say, one of them is especially is our parks. I talked about our parks the last time I was here. And I mean, here right now, we've had 4 years with Roseville right now to go ahead and get somewhat of a Parks and Recreation Department straightened up. Well, I come back in here right now, as I say, I brought back into terms, and in January, we had a brand new, I don't know exactly what you want to call it, a reinstatement of what our park was supposed to be. I can't start to tell you, and I come in here today, and the gentleman told me to come back in, and it's still not ready, but in January, it was already passed. So people, think about this. In January, they already passed the proposal, but it's not ready.
30 seconds, Mr. Cook.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. But come back and tell you have to do this? I understand. I'll fight for this city and everywhere we can to get it cleaned up and the rest of the stuff. But sometimes, as I said, watch your own back door before you go in somebody's front door. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Please step up.
Madam Mayor and Council, Gary Myron, Eastpointe resident. And my question on container houses. 600 square feet is kind of small. I don't know if that is in the master plan. I don't think it is. After a few years, when they start getting another family member, they might move out. Then what's going to happen to them? The container house is who's going to finance it, along with storage. There's no storage in the thing. They don't get a basement. They can still get a house. The city has a lot of houses coming to the city from the county. Same prices or a little lower. You might get a garage. More than likely, we'll get a basement. They'll have more room and more things to do. If you have 600 square feet houses, what's that going to open up the doors? Like having the tiny houses. You can open the door with all these empty lots with any other kind of building. And after people move out after 3 to 5 years, the city going to get the house back because they can't sell them? I don't know, to me there's a lot of concerns. And still I don't like them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Please step up.
Madam Mayor and Council, my name is Jean Quast. I live at 22852 Oakwood, been there 52 years. I also have a feeling, I think I'm a little too close. I also have a feeling about these container homes. I don't really, I sometimes feel like we're in a chemistry lab here in Eastpointe. We seem to have a lot of things happening to us all at once. Is it because we're a small community? Are we being picked on? Are we being cited for things? There's a lot of things going on here. Do they really fit our community? I don't think the container homes do. I have seen them used in industrial processes for, like workplace areas. But in an area like this, it's just like we said, we have homes here. You want a community, a family community. That may not start with these container homes. And why? I think it's wonderful to have all these big corporations involved in this stuff. We don't have big corporations here. Where is this money going to be coming from should something happen? I think it's very hard on a city our size to be so, may I use the word used or in a petri dish, to have all these things hitting it at once. And I think we really need to sit back and think about what's going on here. What is East Detroit going to become? Are we going to be a family-centered town where people are working together and doing the very, very best for their city that they can? Or are we going to be an experiment where big corporations can come in and tell you how you're going to live and what you're going to do? I think we all need to sit back and really take a close look at a lot of the things that are going on here. Are they positive, or could they really produce a very, very negative impact on a community that we are all living in and feel very proud of and want to be a part of it? That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, back there.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Judy Trupiano. I live at 22384 Hayes, and I am also here to talk about the container housing. I'm not real happy either. Myself and another resident of the street of Hayes, we were preparing for the Planning Commission meeting coming up on Thursday. In fact, we sent out 289 flyers so that people would know about this. And perhaps come to the meeting. It'll be interesting to see how many people actually show up on Thursday. And then to learn that it was going to be discussed. I don't know if it's going to be decided upon today, but discussed today. So I'm glad that I learned that, and then I am here. Complete disclosure is just so important, and I don't think that that's happening. At the February 6th meeting, it's my understanding that the Planning Commission requested additional information regarding these homes, and they didn't have it. They never received it. On the January 2nd meeting, they didn't have it. So maybe if they had, they could have made a decision. I guess they were split, and that they were waiting until Thursday to talk about it for the fifth person to be there, maybe make the decision, or help make it. Anyway, I think sketchy information, if any at all, has been dispersed to the neighborhoods. I was also told at the meeting there were notices sent out, but within, I forget what it was, 900 feet of the homes, very short radius. This is going to affect the whole neighborhood, the whole city, not just 3 or 4 houses around the proposed sites. Real estate doesn't work that way. I'm a realtor, by the way. Also, a few points I want to make. There was at the February 6th meeting, there was talk about conformity. Eastpointe is not a conforming city. We don't have cookie cutter houses. We have ranches and bungalows and colonials and big barn-like houses. It's not conforming, so that's not the issue. The issue is home versus mobile home. A container home is a mobile home. So that's the dilemma I think we all have here. After it was brought up that the initial inhabitants, when they move out, when they decide that the small homes are not, they're too small for them, their family grows, somebody dies, whatever, anything can
30
happen.
seconds, ma'am.
Oh
Sorry.
boy, that's not enough time. Okay, let's talk about money. Like I said, I'm a realtor. I did some research. One-bedroom homes in the city of Eastpointe, these stats came from June 2019 to present. One-bedroom homes, no basement, no garage, 556 square feet, current value, $32,750. That's less than what you're going to be selling these smaller homes for. Two bedrooms, some with basements, some garages, 863 square feet.
Time is up, ma'am. Thank you.
Current value, $58,000.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
for your research. Appreciate that.
I gotta say though, insurance.
You're done. You're done, ma'am. You're done. But you do have 3 minutes afterwards if you want to provide that. Okay, I'll give it to you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your research and your. Anybody else would like to speak at this time? Yes, sir. Please step up to the podium. Hi, how are you? Thank you.
My name is Rick Brancato. I live at 22 I don't know where the hell I live.
But you do live in Eastpointe, right?
Yeah, I live
Okay.
in Eastpointe. I live in
That's
Oakwood
good.
and Hayes.
Okay.
And these container homes, both of them are in sight of the two houses that Mary and I had coalesced with getting them torn down. Now, these container homes, one is right across the street from me. And there's no real code that has been mentioned. They showed these pictures of, with the trusses on the roofs and what have you. They're just going to be, they look like dumpsters with the windows in them. You take the trusses off of them, and you've got devaluation. And if you change the rule of square footage in the city down to their level, the property value drops to their level. And it's, I maintain my house, and we've been here for about 16, 17 years. I moved from St. Clair Shores. And there's a lot of shortcomings that I see in these houses, meaning that they should be mandatory that they have trusses on them. The lots should be large enough. You go out into Birmingham or Ferndale and what have you, they're $250,000. You're never going to get something like that out of that, and you're reducing the square footage that the city's code is. It's 860, 880, and drop it down to 600. What's next? Someone dragging a trailer in? It's like a trailer with no wheels on it. No basement, not enough room for a garage, tool shed, anything. So I think it's a detriment to the city, this proposal. And that's basically what I'm gonna try and find my way home. But I wanted to tell you that it's a bad idea for the city.
You have 30 seconds.
I have visual on both lots that we're talking about, and I don't want to see them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Rick, your house right on the corner. You won't miss it.
Anyone else would like to speak? Yes, ma'am, in the back. Please let's maintain order and respect, please. If you have to talk, please step outside. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Shelley Crook, and I'm going to start tonight by reading a letter that I sent to our Mayor Monique Owens, Curley, DeMonico, Lucido, and Baker on 2/13 of this year. I am unable to attend the council meeting on February 18th, and I wanted to make sure I state again my desire to purchase the tax aversion property on Shakespeare Avenue. I know I spoke at the last meeting regarding this issue, but as you read or listen, you'll understand why I had to put it in writing. I had previously spoken to Kim Homan from Development on multiple occasions, once on the phone and 2 to 3 times in person. She even asked for my email to keep me abreast of the situation. I received nothing. Early one Monday morning in January, she told me that I did not need to attend the special meeting because it was just for her to give the council her findings and suggestions, and she stated she had my back. Well, lo and behold, the property that we discussed on numerous times, and I made quite clear that I was interested in buying, is being offered to Habitat for Humanity prior to residents and employees getting first opportunity. Previously speaking with Kim, city employees sent my calls to Mary Van Herent. Messages were left on her machine with no return call. And back in 2019, I was given the name of Sherry Peacock. Don't know who she is, never heard back from her. We've tried unsuccessfully for almost 20 years, but nothing fell into place. Timing, ownership issues, etc. My family and I have lived here in Eastpointe for over 30 years now. 3 generations, a total of 70 years. We would like to see more here. This property I would like to purchase was a rental for almost 40 years and sat empty with squatters when not occupied, and I would like to own it. So now for today. The city recently hired a development person named Kim Homan, who supposedly has development experience in Detroit. I spoke with someone outside the tax aversion property on Shakespeare recently, and that conversation is now being held against me. How do I know? Because Kim then spoke with another resident regarding my issue and claimed she did not like my comments about not knowing who I was going to put into the home, whether my son, my mother-in-law, or tear it down. Who gives her the kind of right or power? Her personal opinions should not be used to guide decision-making. I thought a new resolution or something was put into place to give those that live next to said properties an opportunity to purchase before offering to other entities. This is not happening. I made initial contact outside of the said home and went to said city hall and made several calls and tried to obtain information on the neighboring property for more than a year and a half with no communication whatsoever from anyone. How many homes, properties does Eastpointe sell and give to Habitat for Humanity for each year? I'm a 30-year resident and taxpayer who now plans on leaving because I don't feel my city is behind its residents. I wanted a little more property for my growing family, and now I have to find it elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, may I have anybody else who would like to step up and speak at this time? Yes, ma'am, in the back. Won't leave anybody out?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm just wondering if anyone on the council had an empty lot next to their house, would they be so willing to vote on this? I just wonder about that. And why did you hold a public hearing wanting the feedback of the public if you're going to go ahead and do what you want anyway? You could have saved your time and saved our time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. If you guys keep being disruptive, Director, we're going to ask you to have people step out, please.
Come on, guys. Last chance, okay? Then you're gonna have to sit out the hallway, okay? Keep it quiet, please. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak at this time? Anyone else would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, the first hearing of the public is closed. Next item is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, February 18th, 2020.
Madam Mayor, I motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 18th, 2020.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
Yes.
Councilperson Baker?
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico?
Yes.
We have no scheduled hearings. First unfinished business is Macomb County Habitat for Humanity and Ford Fund Container Homes. We have Ms. Holman, who is our economic manager, who has done an amazing job with this. Please.
Good evening, Mayor Owens and Council. Thank you. Currently, we know the status of the Macomb County Habitat for Humanity and the Ford Fund Container Homes. Is it on? Yeah, it's. Sorry.
Thank you.
It has been before council several times in the past few months, starting in December, and then also before the Planning Commission. At this time, actually, it had most recently been tabled at the Planning Commission with a 3-3 vote. They were split on what recommendation to make to the council, and they needed their 7th member present. So we've been contacted by Helen Hicks of Habitat for Humanity, on behalf of Habitat and the Ford Fund, and they have very graciously asked the city to make a decision to either, in the letter that was attached, if Eastpointe would like to move forward, to provide some support and direction on how things would move forward, and if not, graciously to allow them to move to another city. They have been approached by a number of other cities who are very interested. They have all the pieces in place. They have the financing for the mortgages. That last piece fell into place. So they have been most gracious, and I leave it to council. I was not real sure of a recommendation since it's not officially in front of council at this time.
Okay.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Do you know what the motion was that the Planning Commission 3-3 vote was on?
If I remember,
I might have it actually, hold on.
I believe they were split on their motion to deny the changes to the ordinance. I double-checked with
I might have it, I'm sorry.
Mary Van Haren. The minutes were a little bit brief on that topic.
Yeah.
Did you get to make it, Mr. Monica?
Let's see, is this it right here? Right, so yeah, they moved to recommend to city council, I believe, well, as long as it was read exactly off this paper like this, I believe it was. To recommend to city council ordinance changes that would require a special land use or PUD approval, planned use development approval, to allow for unique home sizes and construction materials as follows. Section 50-70B, regulations to include language of special land use or planned unit development approval can be sought for houses that do not meet the minimum square footage. Section 50-151A, Section 12, include the language of special land use approval or PUD approval can be sought for houses that do not meet the minimum square footage. Storage area can be contained in an accessory structure. And 50-169 2A, include the language exception, these homes that have a special land use or PUD approval. Essentially, they were motioning to have the properties go through a special land use as opposed to suggesting the entire ordinance be just updated blanket across the board.
All right, thank you.
Or, well, that was the motion and they were split on it,
Yes,
of course,
yeah.
3-3.
Right.
There were, one member was absent.
Council? Any more conversation?
My thoughts, I mean, I'm all about helping people. I'm all about, I'm not opposed to innovation and things changing, but one thing that I didn't really particularly care for was the size of the home. I would have liked to seen a larger home. That's my personal feelings about it. And also the residents that I've spoken with, more that have spoken with me have been against it than for it. And we say that we want to take their concerns into consideration, and to me that weighs heavily for me. So as of right now, I would be no on it just because of size-wise, I'm not happy with that. As far as everything else, I don't feel like I got satisfactory answers as to, I know they had concepts of what they would look like, but to me it was still kind of just suggested and not necessarily definite. So that's just my own personal feelings about it. But that's it. I'll leave it there.
Mr. DeMonico?
Sure, I'll be happy to go next. First, so about the square footage of the home, of course, that's been a concern of residents. Essentially, this project, we did discuss this, well, Habitat even responded to this fact. They wouldn't be able, this whole project wouldn't be able to happen if they were bigger because the houses would cost more and someone that's low income would not be able to move in. Habitat can't do this. Ford Fund would not offer their grant if Habitat's not involved. So essentially, the, was it 75,000? No, or
100 total.
$100,000 grant would go elsewhere. We can't at least change there, but we did explore that with Habitat. They responded to that concern. And I guess a lot more, I think there's there's a lot of bad information out here. At least, I think a lot of a lot of people, I think, know what some of our, how we feel about this issue. But let's at least agree to the facts here. Like a few things. So first, I'll try to address a few things that were brought up in hearing the public. Notices were sent out to people within 300 feet. We did that to go above and beyond. That wasn't required by how things have gone so far. Correct me if I'm...
It's required, 300 is required, we did 350.
Okay.
Notice for each, around each.
For the planning commission hearing, right, then?
Correct.
Okay. So we did do the 300 feet because it was required for the planning commission hearing. Ms. Holman's gonna help me out here, too. Made quick notes. And then a few other things. I start a couple things here to comment. The grant, some of these things were brought up at the hearing of the public at the planning commission meeting, so some of you may not have heard some of these. The grant is not taxpayer money. It's from Ford Fund. It is their philanthropic arm. It's not any sort of tax dollars from the federal government, state government at all. It's private money from the philanthropic organization. And Habitat, so about the other properties that we have in tax reversion in the city, we can continue with those also. We have the vacant lots, we have all these other lots we've talked about. We can continue with this. This is a whole separate project that has to be the container home or just the grant doesn't come here. That's essentially how that works. And then about storage, every Habitat home comes with an outdoor shed to store any lawn equipment in. Also, anyone that applies to live there is going to apply because they want to live in this house. Habitat and them are not forcing anyone to live in this house. I think some people made it sound like that maybe at the planning commission hearing. And let's see. The container homes also will last a very long time. That had been asked. They're used in the transportation industry at least for 40 years, and they're moving around and all that. So they say the life of the container home would match the reasonable 100-year life of a traditional home. And then also, Level 1 Bank has signed on to already provide mortgages to the folks that move into these properties. So there is already the commitment to financing. So I think that clears up some of the things. I'm sure I missed some things, but I at least wanted to clear up some of those items that were brought up today or at the planning commission hearing.
And there is a completely distinct difference between a mobile home and a container home, because it's different. The one is licensed through the state more as a vehicle, whereas a container home is through the Michigan Residential Code, the building code. So they're completely different animals. But that aside, the emotions are understood.
Ms. Holman, can you tell us what your background is in?
I am a lawyer.
And what?
Real property has been my expertise. And I have worked with blighted vacant properties at the city, state, and county level, including time at the Wayne County Treasurer's Office. I was the director of the Michigan Land Bank for a number of years. We brought in tens of millions of dollars of federal funds through the neighborhood stabilization programs 1 and 2, as well as the settlement dollars for an additional $25 million in demolition. I've been involved in land banking, both nuisance abatement, legal nuisance abatement lawsuits against owners of vacant properties, and in the disposition of such properties for renovations. I also did spend some time in private as the president of a construction company, where I had the ability to buy tax-reverted homes in Detroit for renovation, and I actually had some training. We did some skilled trades training. I had returning citizens and people coming out of recovery who had the ability to work alongside contractors and experts in construction. And those guys were incredibly motivating. The smiles that they had cleaning out houses and learning how to frame indoors and everything like that was quite motivating. So blighted properties have been in my blood since about 2001.
The reason I asked you that, because I want to know, well, we probably already knew your history, but I wanted the residents to know how well skilled and, you know, trained you are in this, putting this together. And I believe that's why we hired you as an economic manager to help us with development in the city of Eastpointe. And having the Ford Company and Habitat, they have a unique background. They have a, you know, good reputation, and for them to seek out any community they want to seek out and chose Eastpointe out of all these other cities that are waiting in line to take this grant says a lot about Eastpointe. And I feel like if we don't take this grant from the Ford Company, we might lose out on other opportunities from other developers and people that want to do business with the city of Eastpointe, because they're going to look at the city as a people that don't want to be innovative and creative and go forward. And I feel like that is what we are, a city that wants to go forward and hoping to be. And I believe we are. And so I think this is a good idea. And I think, like Mr. DeMonico said, we put out letters. And not only did we put out letters, I went personally. You can witness to this, Ms. Holman. I got a list of homes from you and made copies of the information from Ford and Habitat, and I went to over 50% of those homes and knocked those doors myself as mayor of Eastpointe to make sure that we are not making a decision based on how we feel, but what the residents feel. And 50% or more said they liked it, and a little bit less said they didn't. And so I could have stood up here and said that everybody liked it, just to, you know, get your attention, but everybody didn't say they liked it. But predominantly, going door to door, doing my own survey, and I have the numbers to back it up, their own personal phone numbers, that I wrote their numbers down to say if I needed them to be here. A lot of people, some people are sick, some people are elderly, some people work at this time that could not be here. But they like the idea. You know, a lot of people, you know, it is our whole city has, you know, an input on it, but the people who live across the street, they have to see it every day. And so we went to those people. I know I went to them, they got letters. Some of them already knew what we were talking about, but no one actually explained it to them as I did. And so I just wanted to let the residents know what I did on my own to make sure you guys know that we always make residents our priority in knowing what you guys feel. And I think we did above and beyond that.
Well, I think we all agree that we did not have enough information at the very beginning. It was a fast-moving project, and Ford and Habitat have mentioned that also. What the information we had, we provided. And I think in hindsight, everybody agrees that that more information needs to be provided to the municipality. And now there are some cities that have seen what's going on and have seen the presentation, and they're excited to have the project come to their city. It would be fun to see what the finished product looks like, and see if it's something that would, you know, at that point fit into Eastpointe. There are, you know, most likely future grants that may not have the restrictions.
Anyone else?
No,
Yes, sir.
just when you're done, that's okay.
Okay, now I'm done. Did you have anything to say,
Yeah,
sir?
thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, about the ordinance that was up for discussion to change. I think the ordinance indicates, what is it, minimum square footage, 880? 880 square feet, and of course, the container homes would be much less than that. Yes, Habitat has a great reputation. As a matter of fact, in 2005, I belonged to a church in Royal Oak that took the responsibility, along with 32 other homes, to build a home in Detroit. And we worked literally in the same room with President Carter for a week. So Habitat has a great reputation. Everybody on this council, I want to just let you know that everybody, whatever, if they're in favor of this or not in favor, have worked hard to make that decision. as I have. I don't have any stats for you. I don't have any figures for you, except for the fact that I have gotten a lot of phone calls, a lot of letters, a lot of emails, and I would say probably 85% of the calls and the emails that I got were not in favor of the container homes. I'm not either. You know, I thought long and hard about this, but I just don't think it's a right fit for Eastpointe. I just feel uncomfortable for it, so when and if it gets to a point that we'll vote on this, I don't know if it's going to be tonight or we're going to wait for the Planning Commission. The only problem with the Planning Commission, and Jeff is out in the audience, he's a chairperson, if we table it, because it's on their agenda and two people don't show up to their meeting, he's going to have to, by no choice, table it again. So does that mean that we have to sit back for another month until they have their next meeting when they finally have a full capacity of members? But I know everybody in City Hall worked so hard, but like I said, folks, I just don't think it's a good fit for our city, so I will be voting no.
Are we going with a motion?
I think this is a good opportunity for the city, and I realize, and I've heard everyone speak, and to be honest, I'm still, it's really hard for me to make this decision, because I feel like if we pass this up, we're passing up a really great opportunity. The housing market and the way, you know, homes that reach people, you know, meet people's needs change all the time. And I realize that these homes are only 660 square foot, but this is a new trend that people are excited about, and people want to live in these homes. But at the same time, I'm here to represent the community, and I'm here to represent the residents, and I am taking all that into consideration. I think at this time, I would probably have to pass on the Habitat container homes.
Can I get a motion?
Sure. Okay, I'll make the motion.
It's gonna
Fine.
be one of two motions, I think, but yeah, go ahead.
They what?
Still gotta call a motion.
Said it's gonna be one of two motions.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the first motion. And Mr. Attorney, I'm not sure how I'm going to word this, but I'll just say that I would move that the city of Eastpointe refuse or just tell Habitat that we're going to pass for the opportunity.
The motion,
Go ahead, motion.
The motion could be to just instruct the planning commission to cease further
And to,
of this proposed zoning ordinance.
okay, and to suggest that, or direct that the planning commission need not go any further. Okay, that would be my motion, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I got support.
I'll support.
Moved and support, please call the roll. Oh, go ahead.
Just before we vote, well, I guess I think it's pretty obvious how this vote's going, so I won't take too much time, but let's make sure we then contact Habitat for Humanity, of course, and the Ford Fund. They did a lot of work coming out here and came a couple times, but, I think we are passing up an opportunity to have two brand-new homes in the city for two low-income families, and we could, help them out. So I think this is definitely a big opportunity we're passing up on. We'll probably end up visiting these homes in some nearby community then shortly if we don't move forward with this. So I'm pretty disappointed, but I guess that's all I had, Mayor.
I would like to say one more thing, too. I do agree with Mr. DeMonico, but like I said, ultimately, I was voted here by the residents and to represent the majority of the residents, and I do feel like the majority of the residents have spoke against it. So, and that I do think we are missing an opportunity, but I feel like I have to make that decision.
Yes, please let the foreign company know and Habitat. We appreciate them and taking time. And whoever is the city that gets it, congratulations to them.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
No.
Councilperson DeMonico,
No.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is appointment to Assessment Board of Review.
Madam Mayor, if I could, I think we need to clear up what's going on with the board first before we move on.
Yeah.
I think we all essentially forgot that we reduced it from like 2 boards to 1, so it's three members and 1 alternate. As far, correct, Ms. Doom? And so, well, essentially, I don't know if everyone's got the page of who we had appointed. Ms. Koenig, who was on the board for another couple weeks, at least her term's up in a couple weeks, she has moved out of the city. And then Ms. Macon was hoping to stay on the board. But then we, of course, appointed 5 people last time. So essentially, we need to fix that, I guess. Oh, okay. Well, we can do that? Okay. Okay, well, Mr. Edwards wants 2 alternates. So actually, I think that makes this a little easier because then, yeah, actually, I think that works out then. According to what we did last time, we would just need to make 1 permanent member an alternate then.
Don't mind. Before, I realize we overappointed and we need to fix this, but I really think because this board is so important, that we should get a recommendation from Mr. Edwards and administration on who they would recommend that we appoint to this board before we move forward with who we decide to put on here.
Okay.
Want to table it there?
The one down,
No?
yeah, the downside is that the board of review is next week. We can't wait till the next meeting to fix this.
Okay.
Didn't they meet today?
The
Organizational.
meeting was today. But the actual board meeting is next week. It's recommended that whoever is on the board of review have real estate background. I don't know the backgrounds of either one of these people, but if you're going to move somebody from board member to alternate, it would be preferable that whoever, if anybody has realty background, they be left on as the permanent member.
And actually, now that I look at this again, we do need to take some sort of action because we've appointed 3 permanent members, but one of the members that was already on the board, their term doesn't expire till 2021, so we've technically appointed 4 permanent members.
So we need to remove one of them.
Yes, and we could just make,
Either Smith
I-
or Breeden.
I think I'd just, recommend we just move one of them to an alternate, then we have to do something.
Who's been coming? Do we have a list of who's been coming the most on schedule?
Well, the 2,
That's all, never missed a session or always there, and then,
2 of the 4 are brand new.
Both Mrs. Smith and Mr. Brendan, I believe, are both brand new, correct?
Are both what?
Brand new?
Yes, Miss Cheryl Smith, Mr. Dwayne Breeden.
So
are
we need to
brand new.
remove one of those 2.
Yeah, and make them an alternate.
at least both of them still be on the board, so.
What'd you say? Sorry.
At least both of them will still be part of the board. So
Right.
It's not like we're just kicking people off, so.
All right,
Do you have an opinion?
not really. Just flip a coin here and let's just appoint Mr. Breeden as the alternate member as opposed to the permanent member of the Assessment Board of Review.
I'll support that.
Move in support, please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido, Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is adoption of resolution number 1898, street lighting special assessment. I know, me and you had this tabled before, Mr. DeMonico. Did you want to speak on this?
Yeah, I was just asking that we table it so we get that map of where they would be going. That was really it. I don't know if anyone else,
Yeah.
I don't know if I had any further comments, really.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I just want the additional ones to see where they were going. They didn't have that for the crime part.
You don't have this map?
I have this map, but I wanted one to see where it was no lights at and it was high volume of crime, and they didn't have that ready for us at this time, that those lights may be needed to lower.
Mr. Marucci sitting over there. Mr. Marucci, do you have additional information for the council tonight?
Only the information that was provided in the packet, which is a listing of addresses, which is on the back side of the resolution.
Okay.
And I believe there are 51 or 53 different locations. And they, in essence, end up being mid-block. And those addresses are, in essence, mid-block addresses between one cross street and another.
Yeah, I think I'd like to take some sort of action today, though. We're already late in reapproving it. Yeah.
Bless you.
I'll make
Anybody?
a motion.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I motion to adopt resolution number 1898 to authorize the continuation of street lighting assessment, or special assessment, and fund additional streetlights throughout the city.
I support.
And I'd rather do the other option, so I'll be voting no on this one.
Yeah, the reason why we talked about getting, I talked about getting additional streetlights throughout the city. I want to know where those streetlights were going and where the areas where they were high in crime, so we can put lighting there. So,
Yeah, I understand, but I think in my opinion, I think there's a lot of areas in the city that need more streetlights. And I think we need to start somewhere, and I mean, I think that's what Mr. Marucci's plan was, is to kind of start in this lower
Lower center
lower center,
is probably.
because they're kind of like the most spread out right there, right now. You know, there's the least amount, like, per, like, distance in between, it looks like, from this map. And then kind of go fill in the other areas as we, approve this in the future, so.
Do you have an estimate, Mr. Marucci, how many you think it, using the same kind of logic, if, there's 600 feet or a whole block? How many?
I didn't do an estimate, but if you look at, there's large tracks and where you can just go from a half a mile and just see the blocks are missing. This is 51 lights, and I'm probably in less than a quarter of the city, so you're probably looking 300 to 400 additional lights if we decided to put a light mid-block on all the blocks that are normal length and 2 on blocks that are larger than normal or longer than normal. So again, just for example, if you look, you can see, if you take the center, like I'll say Springer, right in the center of town, 4 streets north of 8 Mile. You see one on each corner of Springer between Shakespeare and Cushing, but there's a light missing in the middle. But if you go up to Veronica, there's one in the middle. So my intention was really just very simply, follow the pattern where there's a mid-block light and put one every place where there's no mid-block light.
And how many lights would this provide, Mr. Blum, per year?
The proposal that was before council would have enough funding, assuming DTE keeps their current rates, approximately 60 in year 2 and 60 in year 3. There would be none in the first year because we have to make up the deficit for the current fiscal year. But yeah, it would be 120 lights over the 3-year special assessment.
120, okay. 48. So we'd need to do that at least another time.
Yeah.
At least to cover the whole city.
The whole city, yeah, the anticipation would be to do that going forward.
And then the electric bill will go up a quarter or something too, I think, because that would be, forgot I did the math, I think, last meeting, but it's like 250 new ones, and we currently have 1,300. 300?
Yep.
Just over that.
So.
Correct.
That's all. I think we'll need to increase probably the assessment again then after 3 years probably, right? To cover that electrical.
Hopefully not as much as the cost of the new lights.
Well, sure.
Once the new ones are in, I would expect the assessment to drop as long as DTE doesn't jack the rates up too much.
Anything else? Anybody? Did I give support?
I did.
Okay. Got a motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido?
Yes.
Councilperson Baker?
Yes.
Mayor Owens?
No.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
No.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is appointments to the Eastpointe Housing Authority by the city manager, appointments with concurrence of city council.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would move that the council accept the recommendation from our city manager to appoint Greg Waldecki with a term to expire October 1st, 2020, and Walter Chukubiak with a term to expire October 1st, 2024, to the Eastpointe Housing Authority.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
No.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Next are reports from administration, starting with city manager, Ms. Doon.
I'd like to share a couple of things with you. One's a rather interesting fact that was presented to me by the clerk's office today. As of today, we have 3,510 primary ballots cast for the presidential election, which is a 254% increase over the 2016 presidential election year. So it appears to be a very active year. I think a lot of people are going to come out and vote. So we were rather impressed with those statistics, and I wanted to share them with council and with our community. Thank you for getting involved, and it's really nice when people are out there voting already, getting, not that we know what the tallies are, but they've, it doesn't work that way, but they've already turned in their ballots.
I figured people would wait till after today, maybe even to vote on president, so.
They're pretty darn active. And I do have a memo from Mary Van Haren, our Director of Planning and Zoning, and she asked me to share this not only with our council, but with you folks in the community. The grass growing season will begin soon in Eastpointe, and our ordinance indicates grass height cannot exceed 6 inches, but we typically cut when we see it about 7 inches. Also, weeds and grass along the fence line need to be trimmed. There are county-run services for the elderly and physically handicapped, so we want to be sure that people who absolutely do not have the ability certainly have the service that they need. Now, our ordinance requires that we mail letters to the owners of vacant property in the city or in lieu thereof by publishing a notice once a week for 2 successive weeks in a newspaper on or before March 1st. Now, we've typically mailed these letters to properties in violation, whether it's vacant or occupied, and publish notices in the paper every spring. This year, in an effort to use our resources in the most efficient manner, we will no longer mail letters to each property in violation. We will meet the ordinance requirements by publishing the notice in the Macomb Daily 2 weeks in a row. In addition, we'll make the announcements at a public meeting so that people are aware, put notice on our website, Facebook, digital sign, and water bills. So we appreciate all of you who maintain your yards, and we will continue to reach out to those who are not, but we are looking for efficiencies as we go forward with some interesting projects, street lighting being one of them, looking for housing. So Mary asked me to please share this with everyone. We will continue to give notice. And I'd also like to share with you that I received an interesting letter today from the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, also nicknamed EAGLE. There's an order of approval for a $28,350,000 loan from the Clean Water State Revolving Fund for the Great Lakes Water Authority. This impacts all of us. The project is located within the city of Detroit, but it will prioritize sections of the rather aged 12-mile-long Detroit River Interceptor. I won't go on to share the entire part, but it's a real positive thing when we know that money's coming our way to provide for clean water, clean and safe water for all of us. I would like to also let you know that today, our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Fairbrother, did send out the official request for proposal for parks and grass maintenance fees cutting. And that'll be out for a couple of weeks so that we have an opportunity to have vendors, lawn care companies, local companies, and the company we work for, have them come forth with a prospective bid to maintain all of our lawns within the city. So, oh, and I almost forgot, I've got to check my notes off here. I had the honor of swearing in 2 more police officers just the other day. That brings it to 4 this month. And it's always a proud moment when, you know, these young folks stand, and I say young because I'm getting older, they're looking younger. But to have them stand before and proudly become, you know, members of our department, serving the city of Eastpointe. And it's wonderful to see their families come out and support them, and I know it's a proud moment for the entire department. So that is one of the real positives I have by serving as the city manager and as the clerk, is that I get to swear in people as they come aboard, whether they're on a commission, whether they're a new employee, whether they're a police officer. So it's a really nice day for all of us. And soon, we will have an assistant to the city manager / human resources and purchasing person in our department. We've been running pretty lean, and we've certainly put quite a burden on the staff that we have to accomplish an awfully lot. So that'll make things quite a bit easier for us, especially as we work on bringing new people into our city. As our director, Rohab, said, that we've got quite a few people through the next probably year or 2 that are going to be retiring. Might be a few more years. Do we have a couple years? 1 year. And so we'll be looking for new folks to come join the Eastpointe family, and that's always exciting to me. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager, anybody? No. Okay, going forward to the finance director, Mr. Blum.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council. I do have one topic tonight. I'm sure you've all read it or at least got phone calls about it. Our assessment notices went out. There was an error on the projected change in taxes. Fortunately, it was so ridiculously large that it was hard to take it seriously. My son bought a house in 2019, and on Saturday we were together, and he was trying to bum a loan to pay his $1.3 million tax increase. But we did send out corrected notices. While the assessments themselves were correct, that note was incorrect, and we were not legally required to do it, but it was just one of those things that it made sense to get it out. The company that does our assessing, we're working with them on working out covering the cost of reprinting and mailing. And once we get some final numbers, we'll come up with a deal with them to cover part of it. And we'll see where it goes from there. But that's all I have.
Any questions from our finance director? Seeing none, going to the city attorney, Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. This afternoon, I received an email from Ms. Van Haren requesting that show cause hearings be scheduled. She's suggesting that April 21st be selected for the date for the show cause hearings. For those members out in the audience or anybody watching at home, if you live by one of these properties, you'll know that the city has taken action to correct any blight issues at the properties, and those properties include 23069 Firwood, 16326 Topher, 20825 Redmond, 20920 Kelly, 23040 Piper, 23770 Shakespeare, 22763 Oakwood, 22516 Normandy, and 16213 9 Mile. So if the council would like to schedule those for the April 21st date or some other date as appropriate, I'll make sure that the proper notices go out to the interested parties.
I'm fine with that. What about you all?
Mr. Curley, are you going to be in town April 21st?
Well,
I know you mentioned you were going to Florida.
I wasn't going to broadcast that my house is going to be empty on the 21st.
Sorry.
We're just kidding, you guys.
Well, you don't live by yourself. You don't live alone.
You don't know where I live. I just moved after 56 years. Yeah, but you still have 4 people.
What do everybody else thinks?
I mean, no, I'm fine with the 21st, or I'm fine with May 5th. I mean, to me, I'm open either way.
That's 6 o'clock?
I don't have a preference either way.
What?
6 o'clock.
Leave it up to you, Mr. Curley.
Mr. DeMonico?
Yeah, or which date, or, I said leave it up to Mr. Curley if he wants to just.
No, that's fine.
We can do the 21st.
21st is good.
All right.
These show calls
Gonna
hearings,
let him get out of this that easy?
He's trying to get out of it, actually.
we don't, that's one thing we don't want to postpone because we want to do something to those houses that need to be done, whatever. So let's not cancel that.
All right, 6 PM, the 21st of April. then.
Okay, thank you. I'll make sure the notices go out, and then council is in receipt of our monthly status report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll just make sure my Shetland pony gets trained to watch the door.
Any questions for our city attorney? Seeing none?
I have one
Oh,
question,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
That's okay.
Do you have a copy of our tax reversion policy with you, by chance?
I do not.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify one of the hearing of the public. I know she had mentioned about us, but I believe it states in the tax reversion policy that it was the only vacant lots that we notified the surrounding homeowners, so I wanted to verify that for her. That's all I have for this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going into new business. On to item A, approval of special event application. Councilman Curley's favorite and Miss Suzanne Pixley's, Cruising Gratiot, June 20 of 2020.
Madam Mayor, I motion to request,
Oh, Miss,
sorry.
Miss Pixley?
You
wanna
don't
say-
have any questions. I'm here for your questions.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we have any questions. Anybody have any questions?
I was just happy Councilwoman Lucido wanted to read the motion.
Me too. That's the best part of being mayor.
Yeah, well. Madam Mayor, I motion to approve the request from the Eastpointe Gratiot Cruise, INC, to hold its 22nd annual Classic Car Cruise on Saturday, June 20th, 2020, as requested by the organization, subject to the conditions recommended by the city department directors.
Support.
Oh, you-
Move and
you
support
read
it. Cheated. Move and support it. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Just in case somebody would complain that I'm personally involved with that, I'll abstain.
Councilperson,
We
But you
just
know how I feel.
exchange roles, that's all.
Yeah.
and Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much.
Next item on new business is item B, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1182 to amend chapter 50 zoning, article, what's that, 19, off-street parking, loading, and layout standards. I ain't read that in a long time.
Madam Mayor, I motion to introduce and give first reading to ordinance number 1182 to modify the requirements of the size of parking spaces and non-public off-street parking lots, and schedule the ordinance for second reading and adoption at the City Council regular meeting on March 17th, 2020.
Support.
Move and support it. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Next, item C, Justice Assistance Grant.
Madam Mayor, I motion to authorize the purchase of 7 Dell Latitude 5424 rugged laptop computers, 7 docking stations, and 7 screen support docking stations in the amount of $20,231.26 from Dell Incorporation through the Oakland County Clements.
Support.
Move and support it. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Item D, adoption of resolution number 1901, scheduling a special election for August 4th, 2020, for the purpose of electing a successor to Mayor Monique Owens' unexpired city council member term.
Madam Mayor, oh, go ahead.
All right, Mayor, I'll move to adopt resolution number 1901 to hold a special election on August 4th, 2020, to fill the remainder of the term to expire Monday, November 8th, 2021, for the city council seat currently held by Councilman Rob Baker. Selection will be conducted using a ranked choice voting format.
I support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido.
Yes.
Next item is payroll and bills.
Madam Mayor, I motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,203,403.70.
Support.
Moved and supported, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Next item is the hearing of the public. This is the second opening for the hearing of the public. Please step up. Please state your name again, sorry, and your residency. Every time you come up, you have 3 minutes. Give me 1 second so I can make sure I time you accordingly. Yes, sir.
Gary Myron, Eastpointe resident. On the thing about knocking on doors, passing out literature on the container houses, I went after you of the week of the 6th, during the week. I had more that said no, and I guess that proves it too, is that the planning commission, we had a lot that said no, a whole bunch. So it was very majority said, you know, they were not interested of it. And it was good that you went. I mean, I was surprised when people told me.
Thank you.
But, you know, I had a lot, and I wrote, you know, I had all the addresses, I wrote all the people that said yes and no, and I had majority, a lot that said no. But, well, thank you, and I think it was a good choice that it was made, that we'll move forward now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your help in that process as well. Anybody else would like to speak at this time? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I'm Judy Trupiano, also resident of Eastpointe. And this is really fun for me. I've only been here 6 months. I moved from St. Clair Shores. This is my retirement stepping stone, which is why I think I'm so, I didn't want that to go through, because I really do believe it would devalue the neighborhood. Because, not the style or the nostalgia of it all, but the value. Being the smaller houses, like I said earlier, 500 square feet, we're looking at $32,000. That's today's market. For the 2-bedroom houses, 860 square feet, value $58,000. Okay, and then you're gonna respectively sell them from 40 and 75,000. You're putting people in new worlds underwater. And Eastpointe is still struggling to recover from the last market crash. Hope it doesn't happen again. So we don't want to lose our value again. And I also did a little more research for those who were not sure what to do, or anyway. I spoke to insurance companies. They said they're not going to insure those. I don't know if you didn't mention the insurance, but, and mortgage companies. I spoke to 3 different, and they all said they wouldn't. Well, one said they're going to do research. And the other one said, no, we won't insure those. We're talking Ross Mortgage is a privately owned mortgage company. Great Lakes Mortgage, they do finance modular homes, but they said that these containers would fall under mobile home. So they would not mortgage them. Caliber Homes, they said they're going to do more research. Anyway, also earlier today, I just learned about the Love Life Christian Center. You guys tabled that one, that they want to buy tax homes at the city and then rehab them and sell. I think that's fabulous. That's a good way to keep families in the structures we currently have. Why tear down something, unless it really needs to be, something that's already here? Let's use the resources and things that we have now and come up with other programs that will help support that. And let the real families, bigger families, we're all real families, right, come into the neighborhood. I just think that would be a great way to grow the city.
Thank you.
Did I use up my whole 3 minutes?
No, you didn't. 'Cause I'm always happy to do the 30 seconds left. All right, thank you. Anyone else like to speak? You got it, Ms. Timmons? Okay.
Christine Timmons, 22021 Downell Avenue. Well, I've made my peace after reading section 5. I have to, because I cannot overturn corruption. Corruption is when you do something that's not written or authorized for you to do, but you do it anyway. Sometimes you don't even know it. But once you find it out, I gotta say, I'm not gonna be able to overturn it. So what I'm doing is just working quietly as my little citizen volunteer mayor with the state, and they're telling me different things, and they want me to put it all in writing. Because there is such a thing as a 15-year forensic audit. And I can say, according to the way it's written, I frankly feel sorry for the council. I feel sorry for the mayor, because that's not the way it's written. So you got to learn the power of doing what you're supposed to be doing. There's a strong power in being who you're supposed to be. When you're trying to be something that you're not getting your full nothing, because you're not either one of them. And so that's why I just frankly feel sorry for you, and I'm scared. Sometime at night I get this creepy feeling, what's gonna happen? Because when you're collecting government, federal money, and state money, and you're not organized according to your charter, they could say everybody's a bunch of doggone crooks. They can do that. They're doing it right now in Lansing. Think I'm lying? Joan Jackson Johnson. From 2006 to 2020, she did the same thing, unauthorized, to be giving the money to where she was giving it and who she was giving it to. Finally got caught, because you never know when it's going to happen. So you guys go ahead. I know you've read it and you do it your way, but I always warn people, go by the written word. Then can't nobody get up in your face and say, blah, blah. You just point, hey, see, I can do this. And everybody in prison has an attorney. So a lot of times your attorneys don't know nothing either. Most of them don't anyway. They don't even know how to do a little simple.
30 seconds, ma'am.
They don't know how to do a little simple Constitution case. What's happening in here on that day is, they could sue y'all for everything you're doing. So that's what can be done. And I've seen it. So I just feel sorry for all of you, because none of you are in the position that you were designated to be in. So you're missing the feeling of power of being who you really are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Timmons, for that. Anybody else would like to speak?
Madam Mayor Council, Harvey Creech, resident of Eastpointe, for quite some time. I won't even tell you how many years. Going through this and listening to most of the people, and just even going to the council, I know sometimes they get tired of hearing even a broken record, but the broken record sooner or later is going to have to be paid attention to. And the same thing about it, I know we're about to come out of this the monies that we've been putting into our recreation division in parks over there is about to be paid off. We've got a building over there, and I said the same thing about it. I know I had to fight, and at least I got one shuffleboard put in there. If they want to do anything more power to them. Because I can't understand anymore how hard you have to fight to get something so simply done, and then they ask you, well, where's the people or what? Where's the people? A place that size, one shuffleboard, they give us Wednesday for a couple hours. It's at the point anymore of no remorse. And I'm glad to see, Sarah, I'm glad to see now, I say you're on the Parks Division, and I hated to see some other people leave, and I can talk about this for long, because I've got so much time invested in our parks. I want to see them flourish. We're down to half the size of what we need. We can never provide the people with exactly what they do need, because we need to come back. Roseville, there again too, as I say, maybe they control baseball. We have to provide them with people, pay the money, bring them over there, make sure the fields get dressed, and then take it away anymore. We need to bring this back home. Even if our Parks Division, even if anymore, with the way we're so thin and spread out, if this is, excuse me for saying this, if this is what the residents get and say our bang for our buck, we're in trouble. Because our parks belong to us, and yet our recreation center is over there. And as I say, everything you do is paid for play. It's getting to the point, people, when what's going to happen when all this big money that we had, that we paid for this building, we got 15 more years of this, people. I don't know exactly how long our contract was. It's for a long time. There's a lot of money there. I would like to give you the opportunity now to start talking about this money. Because right now, as I say,
30 seconds, sir.
it's hard for me to try to get anything done in our parks right now. Because we have to either go, I'm not even going to mention any names because the contracts are coming up. I just hope that now they see exactly what we have received for our money. And I hope the people in Eastpointe now will exactly see, maybe, I want to help them out. I want to give them all the recreation I can. I want to give them everything we can. But believe me, think about what we did with all this money. We're going to have more money to do things with. Please tell them what you'd like to see your money done with. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Shelley Crook, taxpayer of 30 years. Now we have the ordinance number 1057, an ordinance to amend Part 2, Chapter 2, Article 3 of Division 3, Code of Ethics. The City of Eastpointe ordains, Section 2-97 Preamble. Public office and employment are public trusts, and each public official and employee must endeavor to earn and honor the public trust in the performance of all official duties and actions. Public officials and employees are chargeable with honesty, integrity, and openness in their handling of public affairs. When conducted inconsistent with these expectations, occurs public officials and employees elected. When conduct inconsistent with these expectation occurs, public suspicion is heightened and public confidence is jeopardized. The city hereby declares all city officials and employees, elected or appointed, paid or unpaid, must avoid any and all conflicts between their private interest and public interest. The purpose of this division is to define standards of ethical conduct that are clearly established and uniformly applied. These standards will provide the public, as well as public officials and employees, with guidance about ethical expectations for trustees of the public. Policy. It is the public policy of the city that all city officials and employees shall be guided by the following principles. 1, public interest. The power and resources of government services shall be used only to advance public interest. 2, objective judgment. Loyalty to the public interest requires that all matters shall be decided with independent, objective judgment, free from avoidable conflicts of interest, improper influences, and competing loyalties. Those are 2. We can skip 3 and 4, and 5 says respectfulness. All city officials and employees shall safeguard public confidence by being honest, fair, and impartial and respectful toward all persons and property with whom they have contact in official capacity, and by avoiding conduct which may tend to undermine respect for city officials and for the city as an institution. I can go to define, but you guys should know who you are. Gifts is anything of value, money, loan, or money, goods or services given without due consideration. Officials' duties or official actions are decisions, recommendations, approvals, disapprovals, or other actions or failures to act which involve the use of discretionary authority as required by the law. I can keep going. It's all on the web. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sorry, do me a favor. Never mind. Time this for me. This is my phone.
Evening, Council. Walter Kubiak, East
Hold on
Point
one
resident.
second, sir. Give me 1 second. Let me time you. My phone went off. Yeah, and this is. I'll give you up to 2 minutes. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yes, sir. Please.
I would like to thank Mrs. Doom for recommending me for, and Craig Wadecki for recommending me for the Housing Commission And I want to thank the four council people who gave me their vote of confidence to put both of us back on. And I also want to thank Councilman Curley, Councilman Baker, and Councilwoman Lucido for the vote against the container houses. Not only was that a vote for Eastpointe, but it was a vote for the people who were very concerned in how those container houses would affect their life. And now I also want to mention that in August, a very distinguished member of our council is up for re-election. His name is Rob Baker. I've only known Rob for about 2 months, and I think he's a breath of fresh air and a voice of reason. Please vote for him in August and put him back on this council.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jeannie, and I'm from Eastpointe once again. I just wanted to share something with everyone up here. I visited 2 restaurants in the past week. One was for my neighbor and one was for myself. I was told by the employees that one of the people that sit up here has been soliciting businesses for free food. That's against the rules. And I think you need to look at the rules, and you know who you are and you know what you did, and you need to stop. I was embarrassed as a resident that they would even say something like that to me. You took this job, and it wasn't to be out here soliciting for free things, unless it benefited the residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seeing none? Second hearing of the public is closed. Thank you, ladies. Okay. Now is mayor and council reports, starting with Councilman Baker. I'll start with you.
All right, well, I just thank everybody for coming out. I always appreciate kind words, whether, spoken, and, I haven't done something in a while, and that was my word of the day, but my word today is inexhaustible. So, and for those that have never heard my word of the day, that's just an attempt for me to do something positive when we have so much negativity that surrounds us day to day. So inexhaustible is my word for today. And that's just basically something that's unable to be used up because of it existing in abundance. And we want to let our compassion and care for one another be inexhaustible. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Lucido.
I would just like to first start by thanking all of administration, from Kim Homan, our city manager, our assistant city manager, everyone that worked with Habitat and the Ford Company, and I'd also like to thank them for taking the time. I know they came out multiple times to multiple meetings to talk to us about the project. I do appreciate it. Like I said, I do think it was a good idea. I just don't think that this is an idea that Eastpointe is ready for at this time. And then I would like to thank all the residents that came out tonight. We always love to see everyone's face out here. Everyone that came up and spoke, I definitely appreciate that. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Curley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple of quick things. I was here the other day when the 2 police officers were sworn in, and it was a beautiful service. It was an awesome service, and to see these 2 young fellas standing up there, when I say young, they're probably 2.5 times younger than I am, to know that they're going to be out there protecting us. And I had a chance to talk to each one of them, to tell them that. And I said, you're probably too young to remember the old television program, Hill Street Blues. And I said, but at the end of the program, the sergeant always said, be careful out there. And so we pray that they're going to be careful, and we pray for all the officers that they will be safe out there. And the other thing is that, here goes my philosophy. Even with all our warts, we still have a pretty good city. And what I would like to see all of us do, when somebody asks you, where do you live? And you say, Eastpointe, no better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman DeMonico.
All right, thanks, Mayor. Councilman Curley, if they're 2.5 times younger, I think they're even younger than me then, too, if I did my math right, so.
Well, you're a young stud too.
So, of course, I'm disappointed in the Ford Fund and Habitat for Humanity project. You know, we passed on a $100,000 grant for the city. So I'm disappointed in that, of course. And then we did have a chance just now to reasonably reduce taxes with the street lighting assessment, but we also did not do that either. I don't know. I was hoping it'd go the other way, obviously. That's how I voted on those. The landscape awards happened last Thursday for the Beautification Commission. Some of you may have seen the photos on Facebook. It's great to hear all the stories and hear from the residents that win and talk about their properties, and you should just see some of these properties. I mean, it's hard enough to just keep the status quo at your house. That takes long enough, and these people put in a ton of time and energy into their homes to make them look great. Try and win next year, all of you. I should try and win too. I should try and keep up with these people. Of course, a week from today is Election Day, and it sounds like I don't really need to announce that. It sounds like plenty of people are already voting, but it's not 100% yet, so I guess I'll announce that, well, because I haven't voted yet. Remember that there is, even if you're not interested in voting for president in the primary, there is a DIA millage and a Macomb enhancement millage that will help out the schools. So make sure you at least go out and vote on those two items. Also, of course, I'm sure a lot of you have seen about coronavirus. Everyone just make sure you wash your hands, don't panic, and, just make sure, just use common sense for things. It probably is going to expand to more states and things as time goes on, but just make sure you keep washing your hands and just use common sense. The census is coming up also. Just keep that in mind. Make sure you respond to that, because federal funding, federal funding that comes our way depends on that, and all kinds of things depend on the census. So please make sure to do that. And I think that's about it. It wasn't me asking for food. Whoever came up to the public. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I want to say thank you for everybody for coming out. Some people were new, some people always come out, and I'm happy about that. I want to thank everybody who came out to the State of the City. It was amazing. It was my first one. Everybody that had a part in it, directors, staff. I know who particularly helped me was Mr. Marucci, the assistant Fairbrother, and Kim Holman. We put that together really quick, and we did a really good job, so I want to say thank you for that. Next year will be better technology and things like that. And also, the director and the superintendent was there. They had a lot of good information, so thank you for coming out and doing that. Just to touch on what Mr. DeMonico said, I want to say thank you to the Ford Fund again and Habitat, and also everybody that had a part of making this process happen. Like I said, out of all the cities in Macomb County, we would have been the first one to try it. And, that was part of, the vision of why I ran to move the city forward. And maybe it wasn't that time. And those who didn't want that, I thank you for still being a part of it. I like when people have input in their city. It shows that they care. Whether we agree or disagree, we're a family town, and we might not always agree, but we always come together at the end. So in saying that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support. Moved and supported. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Curley,
Yes.
Councilperson Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Councilperson Baker,
Yes.
Councilperson DeMonico.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I am about that. Yeah, well, hopefully they come back with some more ideas.